Hey everybody, welcome to the Pencil and Parsecs series finale wrap-up. Thank you so much for beginning. Wow.
After the rose.
After the rose, exactly. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for one final hurrah with the P&P crew. We were doing a Q&A with all of you guys, so if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. I have pulled questions from Reddit. Unfortunately, I won't be able to read everyone's questions, so don't get mad if I don't read your question. But, you know, we can still talk on Reddit and stuff like that.
Here's the thing, like, we don't have social media, so whatever we don't answer tonight, we'll answer in some form or another.
Yeah, exactly.
This time next week, we're going to need more validation.
Exactly. So if we don't answer your question tonight, please tweet it at us a week from now.
I'm going to be at a bar. I'm going to be real sad. So I'm going to need to...
Well, guys, tonight, also, if you want to contribute to Hyper as well, you can donate $25 to have your voice text-to-speech pushed through, where we can hear your positive feedback or things that you love about the show or any questions you may have. We'll just push right through, and we'll just get to that immediately. Also, don't forget to tip with hashtag light or dark to represent your side. We'll still have the color changing effect and everything. But let's jump into it. We're going to spend the first hour, have our boy Cameron here. The first hour.
It's just the first hour is just all fiddler words. It's just all fiddler questions.
But first off, guys, I just kind of want to ask everybody this: how's everyone feeling right after the finale? How's your week been?
I cried a lot.
Sure.
I think it's funny, in the moment that the finale was happening, I think that there was no way that I was gonna feel like, this is amazing, this is perfect. I was not necessarily super stoked on the ending in the moment that it was happening, but like the further removed I've gotten from it and the more I've kind of thought about the possibilities, and I posted about this in Reddit as well, where it was like, I felt like, as I thought about it more, I saw how, while this was a satisfying ending, this story could continue, because I think that I was sort of in the minority of feeling like when we found out that the show was ending, I went, well, yeah, logically that makes sense. I feel like we've gotten to a good conclusion. Like there's a logical conclusion in sight, and which wasn't to say that there wasn't more story to tell, but I certainly saw it from the perspective of, oh, well, if there is more story, there's going to have to be a time jump or something, because we're about to finish this artifact quest, and once that's done, then, like, it's a new storyline.
Which is, like, really awesome, and actually kind of a good, like, leeway into our first question for you guys. Like, Emma did respond with, like, what did you guys think, though? What was your reaction in the moment when you found out that twist with the artifacts at the end? That was pretty wild. I know I was back there, I was like, oh, shit! Like, this is going crazy, but what did you guys think?
Like right at the end?
Like the reveal, at the end there where we knew that we were using these artifacts, we were kind of being played the whole time. And...
Oh yeah.
They got them all. You guys didn't blow up a big super weapon, and kind of ended with just
feels
parting of the ways.
It feels very appropriate for Star Wars.
For our Star Wars.
See, for me, the thing that I took away from the finale was that I really liked that it wasn't finite. That it was as open-ended as Bert made it out to be, and the fact that we had all of those epilogues that still left breadcrumbs for all of us, save for, rest his soul, Herg.
It's okay, he's got 3 children now.
Ultimately, it made me very, very happy, because I had the opposite reaction to Emma when we found out we were canceled, and I was just like, I went into a depression for like a week and a half, because I still have a lot more story to tell. So my favorite thing about the finale is the fact that in many ways it's not the finale. It is, but it isn't.
Yeah.
I think it was more satisfying than like one last droid battle, like dice rolling droid battle would have been neat, I guess, but I don't think it would have been like as satisfying. Maybe if we'd had like another hour and there was time to we beat the guy and then we ran with the things and then
in typical.
Oh my God! Yes, it feels so much better.
I don't know if I
Am I in trouble? What's up?
Yay!
It's here. It's Keith.
It's Keith.
Keith's very upset.
I'm so happy right
Yay!
Right here, right here.
Sit down, man. Sit on the couch. Like,
Yeah.
Cam, come on, you can fit in.
I'll be back. I gotta go dry off. The dog spilled beer on my crotch.
Yeah, nobody's buying that. Your pants are wet for some reason.
Because Keith's here.
So,
I feel a little
for the record,
Good.
Cameron Rice
so
just
excited.
pissed his pants because Keith showed up.
That's so weird.
Oh, I gotta go.
Oh my
watch
god,
this.
that's
I
so
saw
weird.
you bringing a chair from over there, and I was like, oh, who's here? And then you showed up.
Hi.
You were watching the episode live,
do we have
right?
folks
You were
here?
watching it. I saw you in chat.
Yeah,
Watching
yeah,
the finale, right?
I was watching the
I need to
finale.
ask. I need to know because I
Yeah.
haven't seen you since. Like, what did you think of the reveal at the end? What was your take on the finale?
Wait a minute, I have to make sure that I got to the end. I got pretty darn close.
The show
Did I get to
was
the
on
end?
very late.
It is on very late.
Artifacts and that we weren't.
Oh, yeah, but
Gonna-
I saw the end, but
Right.
here's, I was super into it. At the very end, I was doing this thing though, where I was, because I'm watching it on my phone literally in bed, and I'm listening to, mostly I'm listening. So what was the final reveal on the artifacts? What was the actual reveal?
Oh shit!
I mean, basically, like I think that for me approaching getting the artifacts, it was like, okay. Well, I knew that based on the interactions that we'd had in the final temple, I was like, oh, okay, that you bring all these artifacts together and you bring back Revan. But I was sort of thinking.
Well, that I knew. That part.
I was thinking like more of like a Record of Lodoss War situation though at the end of the first OVA when like you have to like sacrifice the light. Like I thought that one of the chosen ones had to be like sacrificed and Revan would inhabit their body. Like this is just me like extrapolating from other works of fiction that I enjoy.
You guys are just talking about C7 bringing back his master type of thing. Is that what you're talking about? That's what it was supposed to be?
They had two separate. Revan
Yeah,
and CZ had two.
totally
They had two separate
agendas.
purposes for it.
Completely separate agendas.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was something at the end that you were like walking off into the sunset and it was like a thing. That I was like, well, what the hell was that reveal?
No, it was.
And then
it
it basically
was
ended
sort of
with
anti-walking off into the sunset.
Right,
and then
right.
Unicron arrived in orbit.
It was Tricules. And
No,
With his
but
epaulets.
yeah, but basically, it was sort of the revelation of it's not like, oh, we bring these artifacts together and we know how to revive Revan. It happens
No.
right away. They were like, we're gonna go away for 30 years and see what happens.
Right, and you were just you weren't the chosen ones
No, all we
having
had to do
anything to
was
do
get
with it
the
except for the
artifacts.
fact that you were chosen to get them and you fulfilled that prophecy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I basically caught like the last hour, which the chat room will tell you because I was like, what's going on? What's happening? Where am I? Am I dead? Herg's dead. What the hell is going on? So there's some stuff happened. That was insane. Now,
You made it out though.
did you talk, was this your plan for the whole time? Did you know
planning
this?
A decent amount of time. Look, it comes down to two factors. One is like dice rolls, and the other is time, right? So, from a time perspective, the joke I think still stands. It takes these guys an hour to get out of a bar, am I right? So there's a
Depends
certain
how
part
cool
where
the
it's
bar
like,
is.
if we can like complete this first battle in a certain period of time, which we couldn't, then it's like, well, this is the finale. If we can get through it and there's enough time to have like more of a, okay, you guys can have a boss fight.
Sure.
The super, boss fight, we could do it. But we were out of time, and at that point I'm like, no. So I knew that was the back corner of like, this is probably what's gonna happen. And for me, it's like the whole point of it isn't, and this is gonna suck to hear you guys be told you're chosen and special this entire show, to then end on you're not chosen or special.
Here's the thing, and from iOS, because I was in iOS head the whole time, I was just like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Everybody tells me she didn't care the whole time. So when the Grandmaster said, "Oh, guess what? You're not special," I was just like, I'm alive. That's all I care about.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And that's
all I care about.
That's
Felt
totally
like that's
a
what
response.
the
think-
vibe was at the end.
I guess I think from Kilara's perspective, it wasn't that she thought that she was special because of this title of the Chosen One. Like she's very anti sort of tradition and prophecy, and like she was the first person to be like, Aaron, your these visions are stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not real. It's just a vision. But I do think that for her, what was more frustrating was like not getting to be the hero and like complete the task that she had set out to do.
And if I can, one of the original ideas going into Pinky at the beginning was to not actually have it go for this long, with this set of characters. My original idea was going to be, we set one more or less season in the classic era.
Right.
Then we go back in time to KOTOR.
dang.
And you guys now having known that your ancestors were these people, you would actually
played
be
those characters.
No, you would be playing different characters.
Trying to
now
stop them?
just seeing, you know, they'd be there, right?
Yeah.
And then the third season would be going 30 years in the future. Everyone knows I do not like the sequels, but it'd be rewriting that, and then it'd be like, okay, now the offspring or new characters or whoever of whatever of those two would now be dealing in a world where you've seen kind of the setup from the classic era, KOTOR, and then now like Final Generation, and that would be the kind of the three parts, but like in a different thing.
Yeah.
But then after we started watch, this season, I was like, we're sticking out with these guys. This is it, and like that's kind of like blue skies thinking at the beginning, but. In my head, this has always been.
And you left it open too, which I think is really, really cool. And I like what Bert said at the end of the whole show is that these characters, they live on, and like through you guys, like you take these characters, take their these stories, and keep adding on to it. I think that's super, super cool.
Yeah, but for as not finite as the ending was, though, I do think that it was satisfying. You know what I mean? Like there was a conclusion.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
it ended.
Yeah,
It ended.
yeah.
There's, hello.
What they aren't telling you, Keith, is Clev rode off into the sunset, opened a repair shop, and married his op gun. Hashtag life.
Thank you.
No, that's Clev. That was Clev. You know, right turn, Clev. Everybody knows Clev. Clev and I, we're tight.
So while we're on the topic of finales and stuff, I did want to ask you guys. I know we did leave it open ended and stuff, but were there any threads or stories that you guys wanted to see?
So many.
Is there anything like
So
top
many.
priority that you wanted to see like super done that you didn't get a chance to go see or
There
experience?
was so much, because in general, especially throughout season 3, since by that point, I started to pick up on the incredible detail work that Bert would do. I could already see him laying down the tracks for a season 4 and a season 5 and so on and so forth. So I want to know what those stories are about. I still have no idea who ordered the attack on the Corvica estate. I have no clue. And there's still so many other questions I have in my own personal backstory that I want to find out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Plus, we never got to go to Showtron.
Never went to Showtron. I appreciate that you started making that the metagame like a lot.
Yeah.
Which was very, because I think well, especially once it was like, hey, this is the last season. I was like, okay, we're not going to get to that, and that's fine. But I appreciated you making a lot of that stuff.
Sure.
Metagame, we snuck a lot of it into
conversations
and
Sure.
missed visions and more stuff with Revan.
Yep.
I'm assuming there's a question at some point about were you ever going to roll different characters or things like that. I'll save it then.
Yeah.
So yeah, we never got to any of the Showtron stuff, but I thought the wedding vision was
Can you
props.
explain how it was?
Yeah. So this is super.
Hello, family. Wanted to pop in and say how much I love and respect each and every one of you. Getting to know you all through Kim has been a great joy, but watching you all give so much and grow such much as performers has been an honor. Much love.
Oh, thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
I love getting to know you.
Is that like the Siri voice?
The Siri voice. That's our Siri voice.
That's our Siri, but that's just a.
That's the Yojimbo. You guys didn't
That's
do
just a
this.
computer voice.
The Yojimbo?
Yeah, voice of the Yojimbo. Yeah.
It is so rapey.
Yeah.
That voice is super. It's not the voice. It's the
Would you
tone
not
of the
talk
voice.
about Kim's husband like that?
Was that his voice?
That is,
That's his voice.
Why does he sound so rapey? Well, he can have a rapey mode.
Great to see everyone together for this last hurrah. Thanks to all of you for this amazing show that helped me through some tough times and led me to hyper rebounds per game. What's next for each of you? No matter what it is, the Force will be with you. Always.
Thank you so
Hashtag
much.
light.
Thank you, Uniform Deer. That's super nice.
Oh, thank you, Uniform Deer.
That's awesome.
But I think to answer your question, Matt, I feel like I was in an interesting position of I felt very, very, very satisfied with Kilara's journey. I feel like she was a very different person at the beginning from who she ended up being, and she was somebody that took all of her experiences in stride and grew and changed because of it. And of course, I also was very much at the center of this artifact quest thing because the people that were trying to bring back Revan were historically Mandalorian, and I thought it was really interesting and clever the way that
knowing that she was going to play a Mandalorian character.
Yeah, not knowing. I didn't know that you didn't know that. That's amazing. But I thought it was fascinating the way that because for me it's I'm such a new canon junkie. And so I love all the stuff with the Mandalorians in Clone Wars and in Rebels, and Bert's such a Legends guy, so it was fun to see the two sort of being incorporated with each other in a way that I actually feel is very true to what they do with new canon in terms of pulling stuff from Legends and incorporating it into the canon. Yeah. So, for me, I was very, very satisfied with my journey. I think that, there's some family storylines for her that I would still like to explore more about, especially her mother's family, who were more traditionally Mandalorian and were, in case chat didn't pick up on it, the ones that were actually descended from the woman who was part of the original Revenant.
Mm-hmm.
So Fa Vidal was great grandmother of Kilara's on her mom's side, not on her dad's side. So I would have liked to see more of that, and then also just a little more with some of the people from her old crew, the Red Star Raiders, and just a little exploring the relationships, not so much between her and those characters. I feel like that was done pretty well, but just in terms of those characters' relationships with each other.
And Justin T77 on Reddit says he wants to know if after the vision with Io and Aaron's wedding, I'll answer this. I'll say this at the end.
I have said this before online, but I truly believe it. This is the best piece of Star Wars fiction since the original trilogy. Thank you, all of hours of amazing moments.
Thank you so much, Austin.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
To me, that means a lot.
I'll take as good as Attack of the Clones. That's good enough. Whoa, that's good enough.
One of the best ones, right? Everyone says it.
People watch it.
After the Io
That's
and
a great
Aaron wedding,
tagline.
do you guys see
This summer.
the
People
Jungle
watch
Crew
it,
staying
they say.
together, or do you guys see you guys going your own ways after that?
Yeah, are you guys getting hitched? Is that a for?
Well, we have to start the resistance.
Yes.
No, but on some
I did-
shows,
I
they
was
have a
like,
dream
oh,
sequence that doesn't quite come to fruition exactly like it looks like it. So I don't know. It could be anything, right?
Yeah, did your dream sequence include Herg as your best man? Because that shit did not come
No,
true.
Yeah.
my dream sequence included her
As a bridesmaid, yeah.
That's right.
Because Herg is progressive like that.
Was he glowing?
Ah.
Oh, that
Maybe.
Maybe you didn't notice it because it was a
I thought it
special
was the
day.
blush, but
Yeah.
well, on the wedding thing, so the pendant.
Oh yeah, this
God,
is
it's
really
forever. It was one of your
freaked
sons.
us out. It freaked you out. Then
It was one of
freaked
his
me out when I
sons.
found out what was
So
going on.
I think the episode before
before
pendant thing,
the wedding vision,
we were we had a bad episode.
and neither one of us were really happy with how we role played.
And so we were we have 4 more episodes. We had never really done anything like this
Yeah.
before. We were we have 4 more episodes. So
Let's
let's
plan
just
shit, yeah.
let's plan something, you know,
Yeah.
just so that we're not fumbling through scenes and are pissed after the show ends that we fucked something up.
right.
And so
we just started talking, we started jamming, and you had brought up the pendants.
yeah, way back when I created Aaron, he had these 2 pendants from his mom. It was on my little original inventory card, and so I was well, that's the one thing I want to make sure that we do is he gives her one of those, and that's an engagement thing, and ceremonially, technically, they'd be
They're
married on
married,
Shoteron.
right. And I was just that actually ties in with a lot of
Yeah.
stuff from her backstory. I love it.
And then selfishly, that also means if he dies, then she can help his sister, legally. She can handle all his shit. But then we hadn't talked to you about that, and then the next episode you did the wedding thing, and
then
you brought up the
specifically brought up
pendants.
the pendants.
And I was like,
And in the moment, it didn't bother me because I was just I heard about the pendants, and I was okay, Joe must have texted Bert to give him the heads up that we want to bring this up, and then.
That was Reddit.
And then
That was definitely Reddit.
And then after that scene had finished, Joe slid over his character sheet to me, and in big block letters on the very bottom it said, "Holy shit, he brought up the pendants." And I went, "You didn't talk to him beforehand?" He's
Oh,
"No."
dang.
no, he's just got a good brain.
He's-
So that was
So,
funny.
that was really cool.
Hey, I want to answer that other question that you
Yeah,
had too, because
please.
I felt Bert was awesome. I felt very lucky. We were about being satisfied with everything
Yeah.
coming out and
Yeah.
everything, because at a certain point, I knew that I just had a finite amount of time
Yeah.
on the show, and I had talked to Bert. I only really to Bert about that, And so we're trying to kind of work things to try to finish, because I really felt responsible to get as much of the backstory out there and everything I wanted to accomplish.
Demand for it too. People wanted
Did
they? I just know, like, I would have felt like I cheated you guys and I cheated you guys and everything if I didn't get that
Somebody
stuff out.
on Reddit, I think it was Doomsday Danny, compared Caleb to Sir Davos from Game of Thrones, and I just like loved that comparison so much.
Fitting.
Yeah.
So fitting.
That's funny. But it worked out great because we got a kind of a closure, a reason for me to leave because I had a long break, and we didn't know at that point, as far as we knew, the show was going to go on forever or whatever. We didn't know how long, like season after season, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, but I had told Bert, like, I really want to come back. I have to close up some things, so maybe in 5 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever it happens to be, like, I really want to come back. And he was always like, yeah, you can definitely come back. And then I saw like this announcement, on Twitter and everywhere, like that there was only so many shows left. So Bert and I got in touch with each other, and it was just like, okay, well, when do I need to come back in, because I need this, and this, and it was great because you worked it in, and the things that needed to be solved. I mean, some of my things were actually solved kind of off screen, but the majority of it, the whole boss thing and all these loose ends and stuff that needed to be tied up, getting Linjiro out of trouble and stuff, like those things got taken care of. Well, he got him killed. I got him out of trouble first. I got him out of trouble, and then you knew he was going to die.
And to Keith's credit, when we were like kind of planning his like eventual kind of similar to what we did when you were guesting, and we kind of your exit out.
My eternal audition.
Keith was like, hey man, I think it's either going to be like in the next couple weeks, and I just looked at him. I didn't tell him what. But I was just like, cool, or it could be sooner than that. And it wasn't like in a way of like, get off the show. It was like I think I know.
Why were you going like this when you said that?
It was like, okay, I knew what the episode was, and that was the episode, and I'm sure it's one of the questions we're going to get there, where a decision had to be made about Aaron. And I'm like, I feel like Keith playing Caleb will be like, I threw it out there. I threw it out there in the universe, and I was like, hey man, we'll see what happens this episode. And that decision was made, and again, not any sort of formal communication, really.
No.
He was just like, I'm gonna pimp out on the Yojimbo, and I was like, this is happening. And I'm like, all right, great. And it was, to me, it was one of the most badass moments.
It was such a boss moment.
Yeah, such a boss moment.
I almost left with him.
I know.
That was great.
Oh, you did.
I told you guys after, but I was like, I almost had her go, I'm coming with you. Just to
and you rolled for it too, didn't you? Like, roll for time.
You were trying to run to get there.
I think you legitimately didn't make it, not just because he said no.
Bert kind of stopped me and stuff, and if I had made it, it would have been a case of like, will Herg return next week? But then I would have just flown the ship back.
I can't remember. Was that a conversation that I had with you about you flying the ship back, or was it Bert saying, "Oh, I would have totally let Hector go with him. I just would have had him fly the ship back next week."
I think it was that. Yeah. So it would have been a question mark.
That episode.
Bert and Caleb.
It was so.
That episode was so good, but it was so crazy to me because it was the one time in the whole series that I felt 100. I mean, not by you personally, but I felt the situation forced me out. Like, that's what it felt like to me. Like, if you watch that episode again, you could probably see the pain in my face because I was like, no, I wanted to do like at least another week or whatever. But it was really like, I can't. Like, it didn't make sense.
What was that? Bits?
What is that?
What does that mean?
Tips? Subscribers? Thank you so much.
Is that what that is? Thank you.
Side. Or the other.
Whatever that was, thank you. No Reiki voice with that one.
To jump on that one thing, I think the most impressive thing about the show to me is I think one of the tropes of playing a tabletop game, playing D&D or whatever, is that you're the party. And the party is always the party, and the party moves forward and does whatever it is they do. And maybe they have some drama, but they're the party. And we actually organically we broke it. Like, we broke not only did we break the party, but improvisationally and organically, narratively found a good but you were even like, hey, if you don't know what to do with Aaron, we can re-roll and you can bring in someone else. Because I was like, I don't know what happens now. That was Tula after I got slapped in the face and Caleb's speech where I was like,
well deserved.
I think we're done here. I thought Aaron was gonna go handle the chemical weapon thing and die or something. I was like, narratively, I don't know what to do with him. But over the course of a really long arc, broke the party, and then narratively as a group like brought it back together like organically, which is fucking cool. Like
Yeah.
it's really cool.
I wouldn't say organically. I would say I stunned both of you so many times where you had to go to a certain plan.
Yeah.
But yes, I get it.
Now, Hector, so we know, unfortunately, Herg's dead. But I do want to know if he didn't die.
Matt, you were doing such a good job tonight until that.
Naeem told me to rub it
Herg
in.
lives on forever.
I mean,
Herg wanted all of
to be
you.
fair, Kurt was dead too.
He's been out blazing, I guess, in a ball of fury, I guess.
Herg is hiding out with Bruce Lee somewhere. They're both fine,
Yeah,
thank
Tupac.
you.
If Herg didn't go, though, what plan would you want? And Phaedra also wants to know, what would you name your kids?
Oh shit! I should have. I have my.
Well, you had a list. You said you had a
Yeah,
list.
it's in the
Aaron,
trunk of my car.
glaring, and staring.
They were for real. The names of the 3 kids were Kelara.
Oh.
There was a combination. Well, one of them was Io. So you got your own name.
Were they,
I got my own name.
And
yeah,
then
were they all Tagorianed up?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what
So it's like Io with like
Yeah.
3 Ys.
Yeah.
The rule is always the rule of 3. So it would have been Io with 3 Ys, and then it was Kelara with 3 Rs. I think so. It's Kelara.
Okay.
That's what it was. And then it was Caleb Val was the name of the 3rd child.
Val.
Combination of
Yeah.
both of you guys. So instead of
Nice.
Aaron
That's
Val, it was
cute.
Caleb Val.
That would have been Caleb and Aaron's kid too if that had worked out.
Yeah, it would have been.
Not for lack of you
I
trying.
spent too much time
Not
on
for
that.
lack
That's
of
for sure.
I had no clue what was going on that entire time, and I was like, I'm okay with this.
Oh, when Aaron was real
What?
thirsty for
Oh,
Caleb?
We're real thirsty.
I don't think that's what.
For some of you, this was your first time streaming and rebounds per game. How would you describe your experience as a player and performer from start to finish of the show?
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
RPG.
RPG. Okay.
Streamlines doesn't understand
What is
the
it?
games, but it's a role-playing
Oh,
game.
okay.
And how would you describe your experience as a player and performer from start to finish? Thank you so much, Nagy. Also, Uniform Deer will ask. I'm going to save that question for later. It's a good one. I'm going to save that for a little later.
I mean, this was not my first time playing a tabletop role-playing
Right.
game, but it was my first time streaming it. I guess that I felt like, in a way, it was this interesting adjustment of, okay, I'm playing a tabletop role-playing game, but also I'm doing a TV show for all intents and purposes that's just 100% improvised. So I think that was kind of the thing, was I got more comfortable with just making up dialogue on the fly as we went on would kind of be, I think, my biggest takeaway.
Let's do it.
See, for me, this was, I call it like a 1.5-year long masterclass in acting. Because when Lucas initially came to me with
George
the offer,
Lucas?
when George Lucas
Just call him
personally
George. Just call him
contacted me,
George.
and said, hey,
him Daddy.
our friend Darren DePaul recommended you for this new Star Wars show, X, Y, and Z. The very, very first thing I said to him was, hey, I don't want to waste your time, but I'm not a gamer, I'm an actor. So just want to put that out there just in case I'm not your person, so you could just not waste any time with me and move on. He said, no, we're looking for actors, we're looking for performers. And so it scared me a little, so I said yes, and I was scared for the first month and a half. And then
I think we all were.
we all were,
Yeah.
but like for me, for the first 5 or 6 weeks, I was playing the game, trying to do my damnedest to kind of smoke and mirror everybody into thinking that I belonged here. And then all of a sudden, I realized, oh no, this will go so much better if you play a character in the game.
Yeah.
And that's when everything changed for me.
I still
That's
I
great.
still stand behind that the first 5-ish episodes before you showed up.
Yeah.
But
They were
I-
cringy to me because I'm like, oh, it was
I
us
know.
getting our stride.
We're all
But
getting our stride, but I had no idea.
And I've said it to Joe before. I think maybe I said it to him this weekend when I'd had several drinks. That I always felt like when Aaron Val showed up, that was when the
everything
show
clicked.
really clicked for me personally.
Yeah.
I also just feel like Aaron was such a good sort of foil in a way for Kilara, and that relationship was just had a really interesting dynamic from the start. And also I already knew Joe, so it was, I don't know, it was fun for me to be like, oh cool, my friend is coming to do the show with us.
Sure.
So yeah.
if I can piggyback this question with a question to Keith as well.
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
I'm very curious. This question with Keith, and then adding on top of that, and this is a compliment, not an insult. But
Oh, that's always
I
bad.
would think
I'm in
out of
trouble.
everyone here, Keith is definitely the most. If you took it for just what his actions were, and the questions he asked, he treated it most like a game, and in the sense where like
Sure.
I feel like, I don't know if this, you might be like, no, this is my first RPG experience. It's like, god damn, this guy asks the right questions all the time.
Yeah, he does.
And is like, I'm sitting there being like, I need to be like 2 steps ahead of everybody. And I could see Keith as a person figuring it out. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, Caleb doesn't know this information!
But that is
He's just so damn good.
that's the highest compliment. I think it's less. Are you talking about yourself in the third person? You're talking about Caleb?
Caleb, I was talking about Caleb.
Well, I want to talk about you.
Oh, talk about me.
Because you were playing the game, but a good RPG player, in my experience, is just a very good storyteller.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
he was
that's true.
ahead of the curve story-wise. He was because he knows that is the strength of playing this type of thing and doing this type of
Sure.
thing. So
Right.
he was like, gaming the system and, asking you this, and this, and saying, can I do this? Can I do this? Oh, I want to make sure my weapons can do this. But it's because he knew that it would lead to the best possible story decision.
Yeah, he's a narrative player.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I trusted Bert, and I trusted, even in situations that it feels like, when I went into it, for me, like I was nervous about it. I hadn't really played. I'd played D&D when I was a kid, but honestly, when we just played like, okay, I listen at the door. Do I hear anything? Okay,
100%.
roll.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's totally
we didn't do
how I played
voices and
D&D.
we were super into it, but
Yeah.
we weren't like, hark, what is that I hear? Like, we didn't do that shit. I shall destroy you.
Shakespeare in the park?
We wouldn't do any of that stuff. So I was like, okay, so this was totally new for me, and I came into it, and I think the first episode, like, I'm like, okay, it's about Star Wars, and I've seen, I know a good chunk about Star Wars, but I don't retain names of things, so I'm like, so that's gonna suck. Like, I'm gonna be like, what planet was that again? That's just gonna happen, I'll deal with it. But we get there, and like, the first episode, you were like shitting all over the bed, and this was like my issue, and I'm like going, okay, so it's Star Wars, but and so I remember the first episode. I thought that was pretty weird. I remember thinking like, that's strange. I don't know. Is that funny? Is that should that happen?
Him on the show, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember
That's
I did
me.
that,
That's how I got
and
welcome.
then I turned to you and I was like, "Welcome to the show, man!" Like, my character just tried to shit on this bed.
Yeah.
Right. And I was just like, I don't. Okay. And I just rolled with it.
I set you guys up horribly that episode too.
Yeah,
It was a weird
I felt
thing,
so
yeah.
awful the night of your first episode because, like, right before we went live, I was just, "Hi, I'm Keith. Keith. I'm Cameron. It's very nice to meet you." And then we start playing. I'm like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah. In my head, I was like, guys, calm the fuck down.
Totally. Yeah. It was. But
Maybe I did that on purpose, like subconsciously. Just like, I'm gonna draw a gun on all of them and they're gonna hate you for it.
everything on fire.
But that seemed right. It seemed right though because
Yeah.
you guys had been on this for a while. You'd already set up. It had a feel. It had a vibe, which I bought into as soon as I had done a couple of episodes.
Sure,
I was like, "This is
totally.
great what you guys have," and all the humor totally worked. But it was, for me, it was like, do I go above game ever? Like on the first night, do I stay 100%? And then I was watching. It was a combination of that.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, oh, okay, the way you guys are playing it is like you can do it. You can stay in character. You can, it's kind of make your choice as long as you're in character for the majority of the important stuff. That seemed to be the vibe.
Totally.
Yeah.
That I was getting. Then I could go, hold on, what is this planet?
Yes.
Where is this? Who is that guy? And if it's something I shouldn't have known, then I asked as Kayla.
Right.
But if it was something I should have known, I tried to go, okay, I know this, right?
Being like,
Okay,
I know
what
I
is
heard
this?
this before.
So like going into this, like I find that even as a D&D player, you go in with the idea that you're going to play this character, and eventually becomes something completely different. And the Moon Rules asks, how did you end up with the character you had in your head when you first making them, and how did they change in a way you weren't expecting over time? And I think that in this show
How
is
much time
pretty
do we have?
I mean, let's just. Unless he left, unless he really peed his pants and left.
Cameron?
Cam is here. I'd say I do want to hear this question, but I have some filler questions that I'd like to ask.
Go.
Right?
Yeah.
But continue. What were you saying?
I'll answer. Let me answer because
Yeah,
my
you start.
character changed the least.
Yeah.
It's
But
true.
it's okay.
So-
It's true.
Like it's okay to have like a quote unquote simple,
Yeah.
consistent character. Not everybody.
Here's-
It's hard to do
It's hard
too.
to do.
I
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Here's what I feel really guilty about is that everybody here
Putting like
is
this like elaborate backstory.
super fucking good at remembering details and
Well, almost everybody.
even like not me. And remembering details and like having a thrust for where your character was going to go and where they came from and remembering the backstory
Sure.
and so much stuff. And I feel selfish because I was also, it's all wrapped now, but I was also on a Star Trek RPG over on Geek and Sundry. I was doing a bunch of different shows during the week with a bunch of different like mindsets and stuff that I really did. And I'm lucky because before we even started, when Bert was doing his own Star Wars RPG and asked me and a couple of our buddies to do it, that's where I created the character of Herg. And even from the beginning, he was exactly who he is. He's the big, simple, loyal, big Chewbacca, but can speak one true north character. So it was fun for me, and I like playing that character. So we cut to this show, and when Bert and Zach and everybody were putting it together, and they asked me to be a part of it, I thought, great, I'm going to be Herg. But then it also became an excuse for me to not have to worry about this show. Because I never thought about what Herg was going to do. A week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks out ahead of time, because the character gave me the excuse of I'm going to play everything in the moment, because that's what Herg does. He just reacts to everything. He's just reactionary. He's just passionate. So I feel guilty in that I would show up in the middle of a long work week and I'm like, I get to be here for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and I don't have to worry about shit, because I can just, whatever Bert's going to throw me, I'll work with it. Whatever happens to any characters, I'll work with it. Meanwhile, you guys are like my backstory. That's my family from 8 months ago. That's a seed I planted, and I'm over here just like, I barely remember my wife's name.
One of my favorite moments in the whole show, period, was when you had literally opened up your notebook and were just like reading.
Oh my god! Actors' notes are so extensive.
So detailed, so well organized. But you made a reference to a droid named KZ7OB. And I remember I looked at Emma, we both looked at each other at the same time going, Herg was the one who was closest to see.
So really, that like when Darren left the show, I would maybe with the exception of Darren, but like whenever we'd have characters come in and come out, I really would forget all the details of that character. That if Bert was like, and then it was this person, I would like look to you guys like, how are we reacting? Oh shit! Oh no! I remember. So I just use Wednesday nights as an excuse for me to relax, knowing that I'm going to trust everybody, and it works for the Herg character, and it's
Another one of my favorite moments was from the Fallout episode after the Coop decision. I was crying for 3 hours straight. And you were in your meditation box, and Bert's feeding you all. I knew exactly what Bert was doing. Bert was just catching you up to speed on what had happened.
Herg, you go to your meditation box. You think about this that's happened, and I was just like,
and this is what you have to
I am mad.
And so I actually went back and I watched it. You had said something. This made, oh gosh, you were just like, you were in your box, and you were just like, I also realize I'm not very observant. And it took everything in me.
It was amazing.
Not to burst out laughing. And if you go back and watch that episode, I screwed my face something really ugly, and it looks like I'm crying, but I'm really trying not to laugh.
I don't know. I think it's interesting. I feel like in a way, because I did put a lot of forethought into my backstory, and I had, it was multi-layered. It was like the stuff that had gone down with her family and the stuff that had gone down with her previous pirate crew, basically. But overall, I felt like I tried to not think too much in advance about what Kilara's choices would be.
That was Bert's job.
Yeah,
Every week, he was
definitely
juggling all of our shit.
Because
and I hate all of you.
And I was, and I'm just gonna echo Keith's sentiment that it's like I just trusted that, if stuff from my backstory were to become relevant or I was gonna have difficult decisions to make, then Bert would bring it up when it was a necessary part of the story. And so I just kind of tried to be really present, and that was one of the things that I enjoyed most about the show. That was most freeing for me, was just being like somebody else for 3 hours in this world that in a lot of ways I had a lot more control over than the one that we actually live in.
Yep. And on that note, real quick, it's like there were multiple times a lot of people say to us, hey, this is the show that got me through some really dark periods, because I could be able to just check out for 3 hours watching. Like the same goes back for me. So there'd be certain episodes where I'm completely in what the show is, and it's just something simple as when the dogs run by or something. I'm like, oh shit, I'm here on a show. I would forget that.
So true.
And that's a testament to all you guys.
Yeah, and kind of on that too, how like I feel like, how did this show do you think it helped you in your everyday lives? Do you think role playing and even your character work like helped bring out traits that you probably wouldn't, were buried deep within you that helped bring out?
For me, it's like I started working on this show about the same time that we started really amping up the wrestling angle of the movie Trivia Schmodown, and it had always existed, but we just really, really started to dig into it. And because, again, I think that one of the things that was so fun for me about the show was getting to exercise that like improv muscle, because I did improv for years and ultimately was like, I don't really like doing shows at 11 o'clock at night for the 6 other people that are also performing right after we perform. But it was nice to be able to feel like I could apply that skill to what we were doing. It was just long form storytelling instead of like game or whatever you have when you're doing improv. But the other thing is that we do a lot of that in the Schmodown as well. So I feel like I was simultaneously getting to really work those skills and incorporate them in a way that was super satisfying to me as a performer. And it's to the point now that because I'm just so used to improvising dialogue from doing the show for so long, when we're filming stuff for Schmodown, Christian will give me a couple of talking points and I will echo them back perfectly. And he's like, do you have photographic memory? And I'm like, nah, I'm good at improv,
I have to talk my way out of a lot of Imperial blockades.
Yeah. Exactly.
or shoot your way out.
Yeah. I don't regret that, by the way.
I'd always done a lot of sketch and improv and all ensemble stuff before I moved to Los Angeles. With like the same group for a lot of years, and we did like a lot of long form improv stuff. We did like a lot of dramatic long form improv stuff that I was really, really proud of. And then when it came time to move to Los Angeles, everybody's timing and circumstances got really janked up, and it turned out just me and my wife moved to Los Angeles. So I was like, oh, okay, I gotta figure out how to not sink. So that's why I started doing stand-up out of necessity.
Sure.
So this was a muscle I hadn't gotten to work in like a really fucking long time. I moved here in 08, 07, 08, and so I hadn't really done anything like this.
Sort of like character work like this.
Yeah.
Well, you do the Turn to the Nerds. You were doing characters in that.
Yeah, but that's just me wearing a wig and yelling roast battle jokes at somebody.
Yeah.
Which
is really funny and fun, by the way.
But I don't know. In terms of daily life stuff, and for one thing, it really means a lot when people say that the show got them.
Yeah, Shadow was walking in chat just said that they were going through a dark time in school. They were in their 3rd semester, and this show helped them get through a bunch of stuff.
I'm glad that helped.
And you're not
also
alone.
he's a great actor. That's the thing that we all learned.
Joe was a great actor.
Well, what I will say, thank you. What I will speak to is you guys are not on your own. Last year was probably the hardest year of my life. There were a lot of episodes where I was just gone a lot. I don't know if you guys noticed that, where it would be like Bert would be like, and this week Aaron goes into the scavenger camp.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot about that.
That was code.
Where there was
code.
Where there was just a lot going on, and thank you, because there were times where 10 minutes before we started, I was like, I can't come in, man. I'm sorry.
Sure.
And this has really been an anchor for me. You guys have been. So thank you for that. And I think that was the hardest thing about being like, show's over. I was like, fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta pay for therapy now.
Absolutely. For me, creatively, again, I do not come from this world whatsoever. I don't come from the streaming world. I don't come from the gaming world. I don't come from the comedy improv world. Like, I trained 10, 12 years ago.
Julia!
I trained because I wanted to join the Royal Shakespeare Company. That has not happened. I'm right here.
And you're welcome.
And the Royal Space Beer.
And the Royal Space Beer. Right, exactly. And so once kind of my brain shifted into playing a character, I really just became grateful for this. One, because I'm echoing everything you said, because last year was a very challenging year, and this became my constant, the eye of the hurricane for me. I would come here and I would forget everything that was going on outside and I just got to be somebody else.
Yeah.
For 3 hours at a time, and I got to feel joys and I got to feel lows and everything in between. But for me, just coming from the industry, it was nice playing a character that had layers that I could develop over time, because on a daily basis, I usually get called in to read for the reporter,
No.
the flight attendant,
What?
and the best friend for the much prettier, more symmetrical romantic lead.
That's why I take ibuprofen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you saying that there aren't a lot of very well written roles for women in movies
What?
and shows?
Exactly.
Kim,
But it's
get
like, it's
out
always
of
the
here.
things like, but it's also things like, and the best friend. I'm always the best friend in
You
some
need to
way.
dump.
Yeah.
Exactly. and just you're more famous than I am. You are much more attractive than I am. I'm gonna tell you what to do because you're obviously not smart enough to make a decision. That's basically what I go out for. And so it was just from a creative angle, it was just really nice to do the opposite. of that.
Sure. And kind of touching on that really quickly. That's all I'm gonna do. Hyper has been an amazing place to do this. I mean, it sucks. We're going to say a lot about how we're sad that this is ending.
Yeah.
We're going to spend weeks in
We will
depression.
spend- yes.
Whatever, all the things that we're talking about. But that being said, let's always remember that one, the show would not be a thing without Hyper
Of course
and everyone helping and being part of this thing
Yeah.
with us. But two, one of the things that I've always loved about specifically Hyper is they've focused very much on diversity within their casting.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
very
still
true.
remember our episode 0 that we did. It was just the two of you.
Oh God!
First we did we just met here. We just met here and it was just us.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like, okay, cool, like
It's like
great.
a play test?
It was even that. It was just like, hey, meet you. Hey, meet you.
Met each other.
And and I asked you guys like, hey, what got you into Star Wars? Like, what's your background? You guys had very different responses. Like, and Zach was like, what's your take on that? I was like, they're gonna be fucking fine. Right?
Yeah.
And then the following week or later,
We
you
had a
guys
play
came
test,
over.
right.
We did a play test.
We did.
And like that's when I was like, this is gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think just too to like piggyback off of what Kim was saying, and it's something that one of the reasons I think that I have been so adamant about wanting people to watch this show, and it's been such a great experience for me, is it's very much what Kim was saying. It's that as women, we're not often given. I'll wait for that tip to
I am
come.
tipping toward your drink fund after the show. As I've said so many times, thank you all for your creativity and brilliance and reminding me the importance of being creative. Pencils and Parsecs is now part of my Star Wars canon.
Yeah.
#liked.
Thanks so much, Bradley.
We messed it up a little. We messed it up a little bit, but thank
We
you.
messed it up a little bit. As women, you don't usually get the opportunity to play particularly interesting roles, and again, like just as such a new canon advocate, I think that's one of the things that Star Wars does particularly well, particularly in the sort of side stories that aren't necessarily part of the
Cartoon
whole
shows and comics.
Yeah, exactly, in the cartoons and in the comics. And it was cool to feel like I was part of that, and particularly with Kilara, I felt like she's the kind of character. She was fulfilling a role that we don't see women fulfill very often, and when we do, they are often kind of two-dimensional. Like they're not allowed to make mistakes, and they're sort of removed when they are the leader of a group of people.
Just
and
emotionless.
Yeah, exactly.
And
You guys got, not to peek too much behind the curtain, but
Right.
there was a little bit of frustration on my part because of the animosity. Not animosity, but there was sometimes comments that were thrown in whatever. We're playing an RPG and it's gonna be imperfect because that's the whole point.
Yeah.
You make mistakes or the dice don't go in your favor. That's
Sure.
a thing. That's literally a thing, right?
Yeah.
But particularly for the two of you, you would run into situations where you would make a decision, or maybe the dice wouldn't go in your way,
And
or
they would be second guessed.
and you would and it was just I'm sitting there, and it wasn't a loud majority, but it would be at times where I'm sitting there being like, guys, one, this is if I hadn't been there, I would have done this. It was well, first of all, you weren't. Two, it's you can make mistakes. That's the whole point of this thing is you can make mistakes.
If we couldn't make mistakes.
And I mean that's the whole that is one of the things that is so great about role-playing games, is that you are in this situation where it's safe to fail.
Correct.
Enjoyed the show, thank you all. Best wishes in whatever may come next.
Thank you so much, Super Lots.
Guys, you know what I was thinking? We don't need this. We don't need this validation because, the people watching, a lot of people have said these characters are already going to be Star Wars canon to us.
Yeah.
But it's only it's just a matter of time before somebody who works on a Star Wars cartoon or on a Star Wars comic book or in a Star Wars novel slips in our characters in the background.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna point out to us, and be
If
like,
only, that'd
dude,
be
you
great.
were in Star Wars Resistance in the background of season 4, like, and we're like, what? Oh, shit, that's me too.
That was like
No.
Herg won't. No.
I'm sorry.
He could.
No.
CC is technically canon.
No, but just speaking of Star Wars, so it's so funny because it was like, okay, so when Joe joined the show, it was funny because his character was adjacent to the love interest that I had created for my charter's backstory.
Oh,
Corin.
Yeah.
And it's Corin. I hate all of you so fucking much. Anyway, but however, so I was watching the trailer for Star Wars Resistance.
You texted me too.
And I texted Kim and I texted Joe. But the main character in it, who has like a Japanese sounding first name and certainly looks to be Asian, and my friend Christopher Sean does his voice and he is Asian. I was like watching the trailer and I was like, this character just is Corin. Like, what?
Well, and I was
Hey,
you sent me
we
the
made it
email.
first.
Exactly,
We
we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you sent me like the little character, like the image, like
Yeah.
that, but like
Yeah.
essentially his stats,
Yeah.
and I was like kind, clumsy, and brave, and I
Yes.
was like, oh my
Yep.
god, that's cool.
Yeah. And to the point that it was like, and in his career, it was like pilot, mechanic, spy, and training.
Well, speaking of all these NPCs and stuff like that, and Joe, you did come in as a guest. Who were your guys' favorite
Coop, alright, it's
NPCs?
Coop. Coop was our favorite.
But who were your
It
guys'
split
favorite?
the party when you died, man. You were our favorite one.
Oh, thanks, man.
That's everything.
But there were so many people, so many not
Just
just
kidding, it
like
was
Wilhelm
players who came to
Screamley,
play,
Wilhelm
but
Screamley.
NPCs
right.
that maybe didn't have, like Bert had to play. But who were your guys' favorite NPCs or guests who come onto the show?
What was the name of that hammerhead?
Ket.
Oh, Cat.
Cat? Yeah, who got his
I
bed
basically
shit on?
took him from Futurama.
Kiff?
Yeah. That's awesome. Never again. I'm not gonna do this again. Yeah, that was. I
Oh,
always
yeah, he was cool. He
really,
kept coming back.
Miguel. I was gonna say Randall, but
I actually do love Randall.
and I appreciate that I got to have some of it was by design because I kept having to leave and we kept having to just like create. So a lot of that was sort of on the fly and out of necessity, but the fact that they had a much different relationship than the rest of the group had with Randall.
I thought that was
Very
such a
good.
good dynamic too.
Lyra was great.
Lyra was awesome, but behind the curtain on the Miguel character was, I was just like, I'm just gonna walk around the ship, and you were just like, God damn it, and that was all.
Yeah.
That was all Bert. That was all this motherfucker
so
on the fly, and
That's pretty great.
the fact that just like I got a thin air, you brought back this character who at the end was like a character who I really, out of so many NPCs we've seen, I was like, I appreciate this guy that like Bert pulled out of his ass for me.
I loved Miguel.
Miguel was
Appreciate
great.
seeing this
That's
guy.
not a pretty picture.
I mean, Bert literally pulled a man out of his ass.
I pulled too many things out of too many.
Too many orifices.
Do you remember the origin of the saga of the Nick McNickersons? I feel like
Oh,
it was,
I 100%.
Yeah.
because I feel like
I will tell you the exact origin of it, my
we
friend.
were like fucking with you, right? Like we were.
Oh, I
we were
was
frustrated.
pissed. I was so pissed because you were like literally like, we're gonna talk to these bartenders. What's his name? I'm like, you guys always ask their fucking names. You should have some sort of generator or a list. And every week I'm like, get that list, Bert. Get that fucking list. And you're like, what's this guy's name? Fuck you. It's Nick McNickerson.
At no point do you ever have fantasynamegenerator.com open.
No, it's literally a thing. It's literally a thing. But I'm so in the moment because I'm in the thing. I'm in what we're doing. And I was like, it's this guy. And they're like, Nick McNicker. I was like, yes, I'm committing to this. This is a thing. And then you beat the shit out of the guy and stole his locket.
Right.
Which I brought back into the show.
You did. You totally did. I think for me, I mean, I love. I mean, Lyra was the first NPC from Kilara's backstory that was brought in, and I just thought she was played in such an interesting way. I've said it before that I feel like every single NPC from my backstory who showed up, like I had a version of them in my head maybe, but the characters that Bert actually had in the story were so much better than I ever could have imagined. And I love how much of Sardraska we got in the final moments of the show.
Texted you when I think Sardraska.
Oh my god, he was totally in Waterworld yesterday, by the way.
Was he really? Was he real? So, like, one of my Jedi Masters, one of my OG Jedi Masters, love this man to
Yeah.
I was working with him on Saturday, and in the middle of my first show, I was like,
he's perfect.
Darcy would make such a dope Sardraska.
Yeah, he's
like,
literally
in the middle
perfect.
of work, and he's oh gosh, like, and I immediately texted Emma.
Yeah, he's
hey,
like,
guess what I just did right now?
Yeah, he's like mixed race and like has a beard and is bald and oh my god, he's perfect.
I mean,
he's so perfect.
In my head, it's just a slight variation of the guy who actually plays Jango Fett.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's not far off.
Yeah.
That's not far off at all.
Yeah.
There were moments when Bert was portraying the character of MRS, who again I gave him no respect. He was like, I need a name. I'm like, all right.
I was literally pulling teeth. I was like, can you give me something? It's like, did you leave first? Did she leave first? I'm like, nah.
Yeah, I was like, we'll figure it out, man. We'll figure it out. It's fine.
You guys had such focus during those scenes, and you were so into it that it was so believable.
It was intimidating.
You got very quickly past the this is weird, like really quickly, because you were both so into it that when you guys, I loved those moments that you and Emrys had.
There were moments where Bert was playing Emrys and I was playing her that I like legitimately am in love with Bert. Like
I was not lying that one of the good things of the show is ending.
He would cry.
Yeah.
You know, I would tear up. It was for real a human connection.
Yeah.
Bert portrayed this character. I was in the moment. He was in the moment. And it may be in part because Bert and I have had a friendship for years now. We used to work together, and we've known each other for a long time. But like he just did such a good job of doing that. That it's not like I'm in like a silly mode the whole time I'm doing her, but I'm definitely having fun. But he plays this character, and he introduced like, it's a Togorian female, and the way he did it with such gravitas, like I went right into it, and it was immediately really emotional and impactful. And then when we would get out of the moment, I would check myself, be like, oh, that was Bert, man. Like you were in love with him. Like you wanted to kiss him, and that was
like
great.
I said,
great job, Bert.
One of the good things of the show ending is the sexual tension can now end, man. Like,
fine, let's do this.
Develop.
But you guys, you were so good at bringing in the Togorian. Well, what I assume is because I learned it from this show. But the things that you found attractive about each other, the things that you like to talk about, about being strong and fighting and making those choices, and it was so cool because it really made me feel like I would know like what it would be like on that planet. I know they were on separate spots, but it really, to me, you made a strong choice.
I don't know if you know this, but they live in. You guys
I
really
am
made it seem
legitimately
like.
in love with Bert. Story of Hector is life #light.
Thank you, Karen Jeffries. That was in quotes. I am legitimately in love with Bert. Story of Hector's life.
I want to say that what I liked actually, I really liked the way the NPC that you played, Linjuro.
Yeah.
Because I had him written out, and not in like super detail, but I had said like that this guy was super loyal to his friends. He would never, like he was scum and villainy, but he would be absolutely loyal to those that he trusted.
Sure.
100%, but he was super rough around the edges, and like it would be hard to kind of befriend him. And seeing him come to life was so cool. I mean, that's all I put into him, but I thought you nailed that 100% as the rest of the crew was trying to talk to this guy, and he was giving all of you like a little bit of a hard time, but you're like, I don't know. It was just because I vouched for him, and you guys all were like, cool, because he vouches for him, basically. And I was like, yeah, that's him.
Well, I wanted to ask you, Bert, this is from Drunk Cersei on Reddit. They wanted to know what was the most fun NPC for you to play? And we got some really good ones already, but which one was your favorite of all time?
For me, personally, and it's weird because it's not, in my mind, an NPC. It's my character in the show. It's like, this is like really difficult.
Who it is.
Because it was like, I was like, I'm playing along with you guys. Like, this is my NPC. And it's K00.
Of course,
And
I was gonna say Randall.
No. Randall is. We'll touch Randall.
I thought you were talking about the big
I actually do really like Randall, though.
Oh yeah, a lot of people. The fact that a lot of people hate him, I'm like, good, you should, but also like, who should?
Well, people. Sorry, now before we get into KO, people hating Randall is such a fascinating look at the relationship between an audience and their storytellers, and how we just assume that we should trust our narrators at all times. Sure. The fact that I'm gonna take a shit on his bed because he's a fucking asshole. The audience just goes, he is.
Yeah.
He is a fucking. You know what? Yeah. Let's shit on that man's bed.
No, which isn't to say that Randall was not shitty to the crew. He absolutely was.
He was the worst.
He had, but like I thought that his sort of reasons for why he was an asshole were interesting, and I thought that, I don't know, the place that we, at least for me as Kilara, like the place that she ended up with Randall, there was a little bit of understanding. And
I'll say this: we'll get into probably Randall at a separate point.
Oh, sorry.
Just do it now.
No. I'm just adding on this. This is my tip to anyone who is running a role-playing session. You have a group. I'm not saying that you guys were dysfunctional and I had to rip up all of my rules and plans all the time, but create a character that is basically can act as the voice for yourself as the GM to express frustrations with your players in the context of the game. Because if you do it outside of it, you know, like you don't want to be heavy-handed, but like if you have a character who's like, you guys fuck up all the time.
Stormtroopers show up.
Yeah, that's just being dictated.
I'm picturing like a bunch of fantasy inns and a bunch of bartenders now, where the party comes in and the bartender's like, "What the fuck are you guys doing? I told you guys to go through this thing." And then you went to go. That's just a bunch of bartenders like, "Oh, you fucking guys again." Hey,
Fuck you! Coming in here with covered in blood after you killed all those kids.
No, it was cool though, because I think that it is interesting that you bring that up though, Bert, because it really was. It wasn't that like we were fucking up. We just weren't doing what Bert wanted us to do. So.
I literally created a character, the Grand Master, the GM, who has to tell you things of like, well, you're not special. Fuck you. Like,
I just see Deckard Cain being like, "Stay a while and listen about how you're all pieces of garbage."
That's awesome. Someone, T-Boys in chat asks, for Bert, how much input did Amy give you on Cool, or was Cool entirely your creation?
that was entirely Amy. Amy literally was a guest who thankfully was like able to come in the very early stages, and like one of the best characters as an NPC guest, not an NPC, I guess guest player, right?
Yeah.
And it was straight up one of those things where I had pre-made generated character sheets, and I'm like, here are characters. And they have classes. The races are taken into place with these character generations, but like, don't worry about it. You don't have to play any of them. She immediately went for this Mon Calamarian technician. It's like, great. You do not have to play Mon Calamarian. You can play whatever you want. She's like, no, this is really. I really wanted to play Mon Calamarian. I was like, good. And like, and yeah, Ko is 100%. Just Amy bringing that character to life in the moment. Like literally, it's in the moment. And all of the hilarious things of like dropping the gun just became
ripping up scars.
Yeah, ripping up scars. It was like you, the dice roll weren't with you, but then if you make it a part of you, it worked.
Yeah, Ko is the only reason why Io had that lightsaber to begin with.
Yeah.
Because Ko was holding it backwards, and everybody in chat was like, "Oh, Io was attracted to it," and I'm like, "No, Ko was just holding it the wrong way."
Yeah.
And she just took it so Ko wouldn't stab herself in the face.
Yeah.
Dude Del 95 wants to know from all of you guys, besides Randall, who is the least liked NPC?
Best.
The least liked NPC.
NPC.
Oh, I know. I shot him in the face, Commander Gain.
Thank the Tides for delivering K-Leave on our shores tonight. Bert and Rush Votto, how do you think the Bounty Hunter War ended? If they need new leadership, Veldrin Kane has my vote.
Thanks to Moon Rules.
I don't
That's
think Kane and ITMS were part of the Bounty Hunters. I have to go back and look at my notes. But that was an NPC created because Moon Rules is dope, and we put them in there, and they did not get killed by Caleb.
They did not.
And they became an integral part of the story. So.
Yeah.
Venusaur for me.
Oh
yeah. Dude, yeah.
Oh, least favorite?
Yeah,
least favorite.
For me, it was,
Yeah, you came up with that on the spot though.
That you knew the.
That
You were
each
literally
other? Yeah.
like, oh no, never mind. I was thinking of never mind.
Who are you thinking of?
Nope, never mind.
Oh.
I don't know if this was a least favorite for me, but I was so blindsided by the fact that Yannick was alive.
Sure.
I was fully expecting Bogir the second
Sure.
to be the Korvica brother that survived, because I created him to be the bitter, entitled second son, and then Yannick was a wild card, so I was thrown for a loop when it turned out to be he was the one that, although I'm not quite sure that Bogavir is it, but anyway, that's a whole other story. And so everything that happened with Yannick after that just made me go, because everything was news to me, absolutely 100% news to both Io and myself. So I was just like, my stress levels would rise every single time Yannick would be brought up.
I'll save that for the end too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, you Keith?
I don't even know what my criteria would be for least favorite. I mean,
yeah, because I mean, even
who
for
the
me,
character didn't like, or who I did. I mean, I thought you did such a good job, and you need to have all kinds of different characters. You got to have bad guys. You got to have just unimportant bouncers. You got to have,
I was gonna say, I think for me it was like, I say Commander Gain was my least favorite, but I liked him, but I just I hated him in character.
Right, I would say
right.
I want to get a little more soju, maybe.
Did Caleb have a particularly hard time with any of them?
I don't think so.
I'm trying to think.
I mean, you could say the guy that
just
doesn't
me.
like you.
Yeah, but that was what it was, and it,
You're online now. Oh,
that made sense.
We're back.
We're back.
Time.
A couple of people left to get some drinkies.
Yeah.
Drinks,
We'll
drinks.
keep going.
Hi.
Matt, what's the next question?
I'm having a good time.
Cool. Well, the next question actually comes from Fadier, and I don't know if Cameron's still here. I figured he left.
Is Cameron still here?
I didn't see Cameron.
He must have left.
But this is Fadier wants to know, and I know what happened to Fiddler Worth, and I guess we can ask Bert, and I want to hear your guys' opinion.
Okay, so I was under the impression that Fiddler, because he wandered off in the temple on Yavin. Yeah, on Yavin.
Yeah.
And then based on the conversation we had with Klaas and Jacek on Mandalore, I believe that Fiddler traveled from one temple to the other, like without going on a spaceship, without normal space travel. Like he was able to basically travel sort of magically in between temples.
I think he went. What did they call it in Rebels?
The world between worlds.
Because
I have no clue what that is.
Oh my god!
To be
it's
honest,
like
I have
so
like
good.
everyone was referencing this thing, and I was like, I don't know what this is.
You don't know.
That's funny because I thought we went to the world between worlds with Revan. And that's how I pictured it. I was like, oh, that's where everybody is. So I figured there's a weird deleted scene on the cutting room floor of Fiddler Worth walking through the world between worlds, just like, hello! It's just me and a big alien owl.
What do you think?
I gotta finish Rebels.
Wait, he knows.
Oh, you do know.
About
That's
Fiddler
right.
Worth.
That's right.
What happened to him?
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Oh.
No, I actually wanted. I'm looking for Cam, but I would say that Cam as a guest is one of the most entertaining
He's great.
guests that we've had on PNP.
I mean, I built a one-shot episode
Yeah, one shot.
with him.
You know, the guy that
I don't know what
created
that
as a Jedi or a separatist ended up just dying of a heart attack. That's fine. But oh, hello, dog. Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
I'm not
This is a perfect segue because I'm not even joking.
Make room for this woman.
Speaking of
Offer
talking about
Hector.
NPCs,
All right, he's a
I'm sorry I'm late. You guys are beautiful.
do you want to pop a
Hector,
squawk?
it was really
Right.
emotional what our characters shared. Thank you. This is all for you.
What our characters
When
shared?
you, when we're so related.
We were cousins.
We were so related.
Definitely
cousins.
Absolutely 100%
Definitely.
cousins.
Come have a seat. Come sit down.
No, stand right here because I really intended just to get in and
Well,
get
we're
out.
actually
somewhere to go?
We were just talking about
I'm
Fiddler
going
Worth.
to party with you guys after.
Oh,
Sweet.
well, we do want to know, you did come in to portray Shelley, and I kind of want to know, like, what was your, what did you and Bert talk about, like, going into it, and what's Shelley doing, like, now? Is she, like, out for revenge, or is she, like...
I was going to say, I actually sent Jess the stuff to watch for Shelley. Because the way that actually came about was, it was so funny, because I knew I was GMing that week, and we were talking about, okay, well, what are we going to do, and chat, and like, in the Discord, and on Twitter, and just, like, all over our community, people started talking about, like, oh, Jess needs to be on the show, and I was like,
Which was the highest
but and it was
compliment, too.
something about, like, and we knew you were going to be on the show, and so it was something about, like, you guys hating each other, which I think was a thing from Roguelike.
Yes.
Right.
And so I was like, oh,
And in real life as well.
and I was
Yeah,
like,
we hate each
oh,
other.
yeah, okay, great. Jess is absolutely going to be on the show, and I knew I wanted to do this one shot of Shelley Nick McNickerson's team, and instead of me playing Shelley, I was like, well, because, chat wants Jess to kill Matt so
Were you
badly.
going to play Shelley?
She would have been my, like, NPC character leading you guys around.
Yeah.
but instead I played the Imperial defector who turned out to secretly be Coop's wife.
Which was awful. It was like, what have I just spent 3 hours fighting for?
It was amazing.
Yeah, so I didn't realize it was your show. I didn't realize everything. I just knew that it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And since I had started coming here, I was like, I want to be on perception check and pencils and parsecs. And I was like, pencils and parsecs will never happen because that's a thing. And it made you were so awesome. I was so nervous. I was like, I got a whole outfit that didn't work out on screen. I thought it was gonna look so cool, and the table blocked its coolness. And I remember just being like, don't be chaotic, Jess. Don't just play the story straight. and man, I would go back and do it just a little bit differently.
No.
No, but it was so good.
Perfect.
Well,
Canon
and,
now.
and again, and it was one of those things where we all knew Shelley as a character because we met her as an NPC, and then just
she wasn't
so
going to
I
be
had
anything.
a little bit.
She was literally
no,
something.
she wasn't supposed to be anything, but you made her into something.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Can I segue this to Coop?
Yeah. Speaking of what else happened,
I was actually not gonna give him flowers. I meant to give it to Bert.
Oh, I gave it to him because I was like, oh man, thank you for coming.
Thank you. That was my favorite color.
Yeah,
you
no,
guys.
that.
Okay.
But that
These are for
one
you.
shot.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Great job.
I got these for you.
Let's go in Birdie, everybody.
Amazing.
Just Birdie.
What a talent!
That's why I waited to come so long.
No, it was funny that one shot
Sorry,
basically.
sorry,
The way that sort of came.
That's not his.
Oh God, please.
The orange ones are mine. But the way that happened was, again, basically, so I was like, oh, we're going to have Jess on the show. And I was like, how do I put Jess on the show? Simultaneously troll the audience and went, oh, well, if I make her Shelley, then they can't but root for her to kill Matt.
Yeah,
that's true.
And yet, chat still rooted to kill Matt. But it's fine. It's fine.
I think he deserved it.
No.
I don't think these were the ones I started with. Wait, what are those?
Someone's a little bit of talking points.
Okay.
Coop?
Who's missing?
Coop?
One of
I'm
these.
giving
Just gonna go back around.
Coop was a character. I was like, hey man, it was like one of the things where Keith couldn't have been there. So it's just like, hey, can you want to be in on this? I want you to be in. Like,
yeah.
Dude, I got this character, and you wrote the most amazing backstory. It was super sad and depressing.
It was
about
really
like,
sad.
I left my wife, couldn't have kids. So she was like, I need to believe in something, so I believe in the Empire. And you're like, the Empire's like kind of bad. And you're like, I'm into this. And she like left, and then I was like, this is. And then you're like, I'm a bar. The guy who plays music in a club. And I was like, this is amazing. I'm gonna make you the spy. But I feel like I fucked you up a little bit because I was like, hey, so we didn't prep beforehand. I was just like, you're gonna be a secret agent. You're gonna like go get these things. You're gonna like just go with it on the fly. And like I kind of just threw you into it, and like not being prepared that they were gonna derail it to the point where I'm like, shit. And you're like, well, what do we do? And you're like, I don't know. And you look at me and it's like, you're not there yet. And I'm like,
I blame Bert completely for this.
Yeah, 100%. You can blame me.
Because...
But sorry, keep going.
No, look, 10 minutes into an episode, when you look at this cast and you say, plan a complex heist.
Yeah, that's Bert's fault.
I was so excited.
I'm just gonna say I had a plan.
I believe it.
Yep.
Anyways.
All I gotta say.
So you got thrown to the wolves.
We had a plan, but Coop didn't stick to it.
But Coop didn't stick to it.
Yeah.
Why isn't Matt getting all the blame?
Well, Coop didn't stick to it because he didn't. Like, he was trying to stick to it, but he didn't want to like.
But he was a sweet boy.
He didn't want to kiss his girl because like it was messed up.
You never cheated on your wife.
No, I did. I never did.
He never did.
And Shelley was impressionable. We all understand this.
And like honestly, like what happened in that moment, that was like the pinnacle moment where like this is going to shit.
You smashed your guitar over that one.
I felt like I couldn't. It's kind of weird, but humans are weird and complex. But he couldn't kiss Shelley because he didn't have he was just like using her. He didn't want to go further.
Because he was using her.
Yeah, he needed to get the info.
Way too parallel with her.
All you need to do was get a key card, and then it turned into a date.
Yeah. But then like I don't know, he was like, man, she should go out. He like really cared about like you pursuing your passions and stuff. And when you got in trouble and you probably it's kind of weird.
It's
like,
true. It was all
he
like
kinda saw,
about protecting the arts and small business.
Well, he kind of saw like his like daughter getting like like in a weird way, like not in like a weird gross way, but you kind of saw this like one person.
What the fuck?
I'm serious.
No, but that's the
Oh
point.
my God.
It was yeah, never mind.
All right, I'm just stop talking.
Shelly and
just-
Aaron kissed in the next episode after you left.
I would have done
Shelly
that.
and Aaron did kiss.
It
yeah.
was totally
Wait,
totally
what?
on point.
Yeah, Shelly kissed Aaron.
You give Coop this, and then she like kissed him, and then she slapped him.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, the
Which
next
I
time that we
realized
were
he was
all
dead.
on the when we were on the derelict Star Destroyer, which I blame myself for the existence of.
Oh, look.
I just want to say it's a character testament to you, Matt, that even the most seemingly insignificant human can have a lovely,
It's
beautiful
true.
importance. And that's why you made Shelly important, because that's your heart.
Well, yeah, but like I don't think I think everyone's like I'm not digging. I swear it's like he saw he didn't want her to get in trouble because he saw like this like in a world like he could have brought this person to feel into trouble and he didn't want that to happen.
I believe. I think
You know?
that's.
You
let's just
literally
roll with it.
sent the mission in a nosedive because you were trying to save somebody, and the worst things possible happened to you
Oh,
because
yeah.
of a consequence.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, I'll say,
you died.
You had your organs harvested
died
while you
very
were.
I
bad.
I just imagine I get these I find out in Boston and I just imagine Aaron Val like Invader Zim with all the intestines and shit in him.
so many juicy organs.
Yeah, I do wonder about the
Well,
specifics
see,
of that.
Props to Mac in one episode, and then supplemented by an episode where props to you, where everyone just cared so much about rescuing him because of you and the way you played her. That fucking. There are people who have watched 18 Red Weddings and Game of Thrones and they're still there. People stopped watching our fucking show. People stopped watching our show
Coop died?
after Coop
died.
died.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they asked for it.
Yeah,
And
they
Yeah,
did
yeah.
actually pay for
yeah,
it.
and paid for it.
I'm used to chat being like, Matt's got a cool story, yeah, kill him.
But no, fucking props to you both. Like, that's
Thanks, man.
God, that's
crazy.
fascinating.
That's crazy.
Hey,
People
guys.
love that so much that like they stop watching.
Like, this is it.
Guys, what's
Yeah.
everybody's biggest regret in the show? A decision your character made.
Oh.
That you're like because you said earlier like I blame myself.
Okay, this is when I'm gonna.
I do blame myself.
I'm letting the rest. I'm
What?
taking,
No. What's your biggest regret?
No, I don't regret at all as a GM though the story that I told that led us to have Resident Evil in space because I set up Resident Evil in space and Bird took
I
it and
didn't
ran
realize
with it.
that came
that
from
was
that.
dope.
Yeah, that came
'Cause I-
directly out of my one shot.
Okay, I didn't realize
Directly
that.
out of
That's
it,
cool.
yeah.
What's your biggest regret?
My
Falling
biggest-
for this
I
guy?
don't
My
regret that.
biggest regret was
Yeah. This
believing
piece of
his
shit.
words
Yeah.
and using my lottery winnings to basically go bankrupt and help him.
Yeah, you could have been shit.
And his wife was an insane human.
She was insane. She hired all of you to kill him because she couldn't do it herself.
I was a far preferable choice, and I stand by it.
She was
Congratulations.
only trying to save him from what ultimately ended up happening to him. I like to play in that moral gray area, y'all.
I'm not gonna name where we're gonna go, but I'll see you guys there.
Great, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, goodbye. Congratulations.
Thank
guys.
you.
Great job and an excellent show. Goodbye,
Thanks,
dude.
Jess.
Look forward
Thank
to
you for
yours.
the flowers.
You're welcome.
See you at George Lucas's place later.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
I'll give
think
you the
about.
address in chat.
Yeah.
Bert,
Most of my decisions for Caleb, I think, were what he would have done. So,
Yeah.
wherever they
I was gonna
took
say,
me,
but
it
does
felt
Caleb
right.
regret any of his decisions?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yes. Well, Caleb and I regret the same thing. It's very trivial, but it is just. I searched too many bodies. Is basically because that didn't make sense for his character. He should have been fine at that. I actually even had one of my cards that was supposed to help that, and Bert never let me use it for that. It was like, according to the GM, you can ask the GM, and it may give you a bonus for searching. And he's always like, no. And it just didn't make any sense that he would just be like, "Brrr," with everything
I
like
think
that.
for Aaron, people would be like shooting cool, but that was
Yeah.
narratively that was.
No, it made
Gonna
sense.
happen.
No, I think,
was the best.
I think narratively it made sense and it was the choice that she would have made. But, obviously in the last couple episodes there, it's like, Clara obviously regretted her decision to try and cut CZ off before, following him and ultimately confronting the Revenant because that just resulted in a bunch of deaths. But again, it made sense in the context of in the context of the story. I don't regret doing it.
I'm trying to think.
I don't regret shooting HK. What's his face?
I had some scenes that I wish I'd played differently.
Yeah,
I feel like this is one we talked about. I feel like we had really like laid the groundwork to the Force thing, like really well. And every time you pushed it a little further, I was like, we're going this way. Because at one point we even talked about re-rolling Aaron, and I was like, one of the random ideas I came up with, like as I was driving home, and was like, I'm gonna bother Bert because I'm his whole life. I was like, what if I was like a 102-year-old man who like thought he was a Jedi and he was crazy and he turned out to actually be a Jedi, and you were like, well, I don't want Force stuff in the show, so we're gonna have to put a lot of like screwed up rules on it so that it like doesn't work. So I didn't know we'd go as far as we did with the Force stuff with Aaron, but leading up to the Revan confrontation, like just talking to him, I feel like as a player, I felt like I had really like screwed up something that you had been building to, by him being like, I can teach you a lot of shit, and I didn't realize that I was necessarily being like, I didn't realize that in that moment I was saying like, nah, I thought I was saying like, sure, if they're safe, and you were like, well, it seems like you just care about them being safe, so, and I was like, what did I do?
You're like, I just want them to be safe. I was like, okay.
In the end, I think it works for his arc because I think...
Me too.
I agree.
I think Aaron's arc is he was handed things, and all of that went horribly wrong, and I think him having that handed to him would have also gone horribly wrong. So
I think that was my way to try and humanize Revan, because part of the thing that I find interesting is a lot of people know that we've alternated our timeline by all of the unlocks and stuff, but the assumption that we were playing in the quote-unquote prime timeline from the very beginning is wrong. We were playing in a universe in which it was based off one of my many KOTOR experiences. So decisions that I made in alternate KOTOR.
I was gonna say, can I tell you that the Revan thing did not even cross my mind at all, even though they were the Revenant.
Until like 4 weeks ago?
No, well, here's why though, is because I played KOTOR, but in my mind, Revan is a woman. Because I played as a woman, so, you know, so it didn't even occur to me, even though, like, yes, canonically that character is male, but, like, in my version, like, obviously, like, Revan is a woman and Carthonasi is best video game husbando of life.
Oh, he's the worst!
Oh, no, he's the best.
Oh, I hate him.
The best.
Character? I'm really trying. Honestly, I'm so sorry, Emma. The thing that I think I regrets most is probably kicking Kalara out of the VIP room.
Oh
yeah. Because like once she found out that the mission was to get something off of Benisar Hortons Jr.'s person, she was like, Io was like, this is in my wheelhouse. Because you know what Coruscant Io was like.
I'm gonna bang that dude.
And she was gonna get that key off of him once he took his clothes off in front of her.
Sure.
And Kalara came in, did what she did.
C-blocked it.
I'm sorry.
And
I didn't know that was the plan.
For a lot of different reasons, but you know, Kalara didn't know that her.
Yeah.
But also, Kalara also knew that her help wasn't needed because nobody called for help. And I think Io probably would have stood her ground a little bit more.
I don't know, but she didn't feel that way though. Like and I mean, somebody in Reddit one time like made this comparison that I was very flattered by. Of, you know, they compared Kalara in a way as a leader to like Diana, aka Wonder Woman, in the like, she's not the kind of leader that's gonna like sit back and like send people into battle without her. She's the kind of person that like wants to be involved and is always going to make her own choices and do what she's going to do.
She's not necessarily Cyclops.
No. So it wouldn't have made sense for her to just be like, they got this. But I also think that after that mission, there was more of her going, you know what, I'm not needed here. Yeah.
And that is called growth.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
From Io's book, I remember thinking, this is exactly what Papa used to do. Papa used to do that.
That makes a lot more sense
There have been a
to
couple
me
of times
because I was
where
like so sad in the moment, and I was like, I don't. I know I kind of screwed this up, but
and then she called Io the best dressed person in the room. The help in front of Aaron to calling him his bodyguard. I was just like, oh no.
I still stand by. I thought that was a good cover.
Well, but at first she was a socialite, according to Ben Hortorn Jr. She was a high-flying socialite.
Got
and
it.
She became something else entirely.
Wasn't
But I
there
think
for that
Io would have
conversation.
definitely held her ground a little bit more because that was the first time she felt like herself after she thought Papa was gone. And she felt free of that sort of
Save
shadow.
that to the end as
And you
well.
save that till the end as well. And then from above game perspective over that, I was actually planning on bringing on Chorus on Io in season 2.
Sure.
And after that moment, I didn't have a natural place to throw her in there until basically Chandrilla.
Yeah.
There was really no way to kind of bring who Io really was until 5 months after that.
Yeah.
And in between then, it was just, Io was punchy, shooty, which is not her.
Right. But I mean, I think, it led to some good
It led to
growth
some really good stuff.
on the part of Kilara as a character, and in her defense, she didn't know. Like, from her perspective, she's like, oh, well, I'm good at talking to people, and my friends might be in danger, so I'm gonna get in there and help them out.
Mm-hmm. And from Io's perspective, it was like
Right, it was her being like
nobody called
Papa
for
not
help.
trusting her.
Or nobody called for help. So, but I think it led to some really, really great character moments. But from standing in Io's shoes, you probably would have stood your ground a little bit more, as opposed to going, what's going on here? Where is this going? And then it led to Aaron essentially committing like cold-blooded murder.
Yeah, huh?
Yep.
Remember when I killed that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
You might want to lay low for a while. I don't know.
And I remember thinking in that moment, if Io was just like, Io was thinking, if I had just been allowed to do what I do best, this wouldn't have happened to Aaron. And she made the personal promise to protect him way back in season 1.
Someone asked, I think it was the Moon Rules. I think no, it was not. It was the Moon Rules. Great. If in the last arc, if it looked like Aaron was like, I feel like he was on his way to die.
He really wanted to do a heroic
Can I jump in here? Can I jump in here?
Yeah.
Can I jump the fuck in here? You were supposed to die in the last episode. I was gunning for you.
Oh, I was supposed to die so much
100%.
longer.
I know.
before that.
That's why I was like, I have one last shot.
With
This
that
is it.
droid.
And no, it was the entire episode. But I was gonna give.
It was gonna be a fucking battle droid at first. Fuck that.
Dude, I gave.
Damn,
I gave
that was tough.
Everyone collectively, the first person who gets, quote unquote, because at this point I was like, no, if you reach 0, you're dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna give that person the body shield of K201.
Yep, K201.
And
K2!
You consumed it, and I was like, great, you don't get another one. And I had to make up on the fly the entire, literally from the point in which Kalara went with CZ onward, I just made up because it was not part of my plan. Where I was like, I'm dropping in destroyer droids with missile pods and flamethrowers and all this fucking shit. And it's a testament to the people who watch the show and the people that care about Aaron.
It kept them
because
alive.
the amount of dice, at that point you were the only light side player. So for
Yeah,
the
it's
entire
true.
last episode, everything that was contributed to light side was literally for you to keep you alive.
Yeah.
And that's 100% what it did.
Yep.
And I'm very pissed.
It's actually from Erica977, and she asked, Kim, what do you think Io would have done if Aaron had died in postmortem? I mean, both the initial reaction.
Oh, in postmortem.
Postmortem.
Oh, that was the episode
Yes.
where we sacrificed Coop.
Yes,
100% she would have left.
Yeah.
For good. Absolutely. 100% because, again, Bert and I had talked about this for a year prior. She made the promise to protect him when he came back. And then just kind of leading up to taking into account all the events that led up to that. If Kalara hadn't given her the choice to make the choice that she did, then she would have, again, it's that Papa shadow again, she would have said, this happened on your watch because Papa never keeps her promises, and then she would have left for good.
I mean, you could just cut his arm off, maybe
leg.
With or leg, whatever.
I'll save
I'm just kidding.
the Papa comments.
But no, she would have left.
That was
happened.
that was the third time we talked about what happens if Aaron's gone.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Herg has a couple of regrets.
Oh.
Number one, Herg regrets not jumping over that desk and killing Randall with his bare hands in any of the meetings, in any of the times we interacted with Randall, to just try it to see what Bert would have done. Number 2, Herb definitely regrets picking up CZ70B at the end of that the adventure there.
And
right, and then he got stabbed. He definitely regrets that.
Can I interject one last thing?
Yes, but real quick, I was gonna say that I loved each of y'all's characters so much that I would have been disappointed if anybody except her died. And when I was dying in my brain, I was so happy. I was like, yes, this is perfect. This is great. This is great. This should be how he's gonna go out. It all makes sense. And I was just glad that it wasn't anybody else or Aaron too. So yeah.
Sure.
What were you gonna say, Bert?
I'll say it. It was the CZ70B thing is completely ad-libbed. I had no clue any of that shit was happening in the episode. When he turned to Valcoria.
Oh, that was amazing.
Not a single one of us knew. So that entire episode is everyone just being like, okay, and we're going with it, and like I'm gonna run and chase up with him. And I'm looking at Darren. I'm like, he doesn't want you to chase up with him, and I'm like,
and the thing is, it's like I know, just again, it's that whole improv thing of like playing to the height of your intelligence. Darren knew that I knew who Valkorian was, so he looked to me to be like, fill the people in, and I was like, okay. But it like made so much sense within the context of your story. So he was just an accidental genius.
He was an accidental genius, and that became the end villain.
I remember being
I'm glad that you chopped him up with a lightsaber.
Me too. It's great.
I remember being like, man, that was a heck of a way to get a character out of the game, and you were like, he didn't tell me he was going to do it.
You know what? I was thinking about what Caleb would have regretted was getting injured so badly in what ended up being my last episode, the one before the last one, because he had made a kind of a bargain with you guys that he would help, and he would have. Absolutely. He would have gone with you and fought to the death if he needed to. So to have to hang back, that would have really bummed. I mean, it bummed me out personally, too, that I couldn't be in that episode. But the way it was handled was well.
That episode, too.
I know. Well, and I will say
maybe
also,
it was all right then.
That, like, full disclosure, I sort of knew it was Keith's last episode, but I sort of forgot, just like being really present in the moment, and also knowing that Caleb, and knowing 100% that Caleb was this character that would have seen the fight through to the end. That was one of the things that I loved about Caleb, was he was so loyal, I think, particularly to Herg and to Kalara. He
would have been.
He would have been. No, he would have been.
You guys made it hard for him.
You did. You made it
difficult.
You made it hard
I
for
wanted
to. Because Caleb was like the one truly good person in the crew.
That temple vision. I have to bring up that temple.
Yeah.
Right.
But just to kind of jump off of that, like I will say, as a player, the regret that I have is not saying to you, like in character in your last episode, no, you need to go with Corin and Lara. You don't need to be involved in any of this. Yeah. You're hurt, blah, blah, blah. Because I know that you would have yes-handed it and gone with it.
Yeah. Well, I would have had to. I would have been like, oh shit, I'm not going to be there. It would have had to be it would have had to been a good push.
Sure.
Just because, I mean, above game, I knew I wasn't going to be there.
I know, yeah.
But within the game, like he could have done it. Sure. He would have done anything he could have done. Even staying by the ship, which I guess he did, had you needed him or whatever, like he would have done that. Because he got to fulfill all the things he needed to do. He really did.
We really
and you guys were a big part of that.
Yes, we did.
Emma, you didn't have any other regrets?
I didn't know you were still alive, asshole.
You didn't know? Oh, so you were fine with just leaving your
No, I was not. I was trying to...
said captain is best captain every fucking week. Just leaving him on his deathbed? Not being present?
I was trying
in
to
his final
save
moments?
everybody else.
Well, the Moon Rules actually wants to know, what did the Yojimbo crew do in honor of Herg's legacy when he dies?
Well, we brought him back to Jagoria.
Right.
We presented acts to Emrys.
Right, to Emrys. We
sang Jub Jub.
Yep, we would have probably burned his body and sang songs. And
in my head canon, this is one of the things that I talked to Hector about. I was about to say her, because anytime we're here, I refer to you guys only as your character players, and this is really hard for me. Hector, about afterwards, was like, if this whole idea of like this generation afterwards, and just being like, not even saying that he would have to play it could be an NPC, but knowing somewhere running around the universe is a little Tagorian woman who has a vibro axe, who is running around and in her honor of her father that she never knew is throating to scroting everyone.
Oh,
and like the opposite.
The opposite. Well, she does it the opposite way to rebel.
Know,
She's a teenager at this point.
Yeah,
And,
or I made the joke. I was like, there's like a Tagorian like bounty hunter that goes around specifically saving kids. Like she like anytime somebody fucks with kids, she's like, no, any child of any race, I will kill them if you mess with them. Yeah, that would be fun.
I pushed it further with my little. I like jotted it down when I got home. Was literally the tales of the children of Hurg. It's like that's what people know them as, and it's these 3 Tagorians that just like save trafficked kids.
Yeah.
Just,
I like that.
I like that.
Everyone's just like
Also,
traffickers and slavers are just scared shitless of them.
I think this happened. I think this worked out last year. I had a chance to see the movie Coco like a week or 2 before it came out.
and then it became part of Tagorian culture.
And I don't know if the movie had come
I liked
out.
it though.
Yeah, I don't know if the movie had come out then, but
It hadn't. Full disclosure, you came at me with that. I saw Coco maybe a week later because I saw it opening weekend, and I went, wait a second.
So I put in the detail that in Tagorian culture, they believe, just like Mexicans, that you die first, but then you really die a second death when people stop
forget
talking
you.
about you.
Right.
Like Chicharron when he goes to nothingness. But because I was lucky that I went to an advanced screening of Coco, I was jazzed on the movie Coco. I'm like, this movie's amazing. Great movie. Super proud of being Mexican. Super great. We came into this on Wednesday, and I forgot even what the context was, but we were talking about death in some way, and that's
it was
Tagorians believe, and dropped that nugget.
When I think it was after Spira, and like Kilara was feeling shitty about herself, and that really did make me feel better.
And so I just like planted that seed, and I hoped I wonder if people are gonna watch Coco when it comes out. And like, hey,
I
that's from Star Wars.
He stole that from Pencils and Parsecs.
Hurg's love of Coco saved an episode later too, because this is after post-mortem. Kim's a very like character player, and I'm a very like we got to move the story like narrative player, and sometimes I think that those would just sort of like clash, where we'd just be in a scene and I would just be like, if this was a TV show, we'd need to do this now.
Yeah.
And you'd just be like, fuck you, I'm in character. And I like just did some riff about her
Coco.
loving the movie Coco, and it was one of her like real deep in character like
It was great.
episodes, and I broke her, and I was like, okay, because I was like, it was one of those ones where I was like, I think we're gonna go like this way, and it's gonna like go bad.
Yeah.
And that's a testament, I think, to all of you, because it's one of those weird places when you're doing an RPG, especially like this, where it's a show, and you're trying to keep people watching, and you're trying to, there's all these different things, and it's a very fine line of like what's too much, what's too not, and sometimes we rode that line a little bit on the middle, but there'd be episodes where I wouldn't have to say anything for an entire hour because you guys were just in a bottle episode on the Yojimbo talking things out, and like to me, I'm sitting there being like, this is really cool character development. I'm sure there's somebody who would jump in the chat and be like, this is dumb, and then like jump back out.
Sure there was.
But I mean, it's a testament to the fact that you guys really took and owned your characters every single day.
Yeah.
That was the best stuff.
Yeah, those were my favorite episodes. Although I will like to say, because I do go back and I read chat, can people stop calling me a method actor? Because method acting is bullshit. It's bullshit. Well, if you see an actor cry on camera or on stage, it's just called acting, period. Afterwards, I go out and I have drinks and I laugh. Method actors stay in it 24/7.
One time you slapped me in the face and you were like, I'm Io Corvica.
You were hanging out, so I have no idea. But no, like I were method. I would have stayed in those dark moments.
You would show up in a dress and a whip.
Yeah, like 24/7, and then like I would be miserable to be around. It's just that's just acting. Period. It's just not. I hate method.
But those really strong character scenes were some of my favorite. Caleb just dropping fucking monologue
so
after
good. Dude, that was
fucking
to
good.
me, and this is something that I've always super admired about Keith as a performer on the show, is that God, your fucking ability to improvise dialogue just
makes it sound scripted.
Next level.
Fuck
it sounds
you.
so
Yeah.
scripted. But like in a good way.
That's
not
very kind. I feel the same way about all of you guys. Though I mean, I listen to all of you guys, and you all have something super special that I like learned from you, or that you taught me, or that you did constantly.
But
you stayed consistent.
But that monologue that you just laid into Aaron was like,
oh. Well, look.
Sorry.
If you could, I don't. And like, I'm sorry if you were on Aaron's side after Caleb's monologue. Like, I don't understand your point of
A
view.
lot of
at
people
all.
were though. I did go to the chat room after that, and because I was really curious about that.
I was 100%
and there were a lot of
team
people that
Caleb.
were very much on your side out of
Because
that
he's
situation.
the silly fop, and people were like, he's fun.
I relate to him.
Well, because it's like he came in and he was like, he's a dumb, funny idiot, but like that has a shelf life. And then it was like he's lying to everyone, and for me, like that had a shelf life. And at some point, I'm like, I don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
And Caleb's saying you have to make a decision about what you want for yourself and what you want for your crew. I wrote that at the top of my fucking notes every day, dude. Like that became the character. That became his arc for like from then on. Was I bounced like every choice I made as that character off that sentence.
Yeah. It was. I mean, to me, it was funny because to me there was like. Again, that was one of those moments where I didn't have a lot of choice. I thought. I mean, it just was going by where the character. I mean, this is a character that had left his family to go with his brother and keep his brother safe, hopefully.
Yeah.
And that didn't work, and he lost his brother, and he did everything he could to save his brother. And he was at kind of this crossroads. He couldn't go. He didn't want to go back to his family. He didn't want to tell them and face the music, what had happened, and face their disappointment, and deal with that grief. So he was looking for a new something. He didn't even know what. And that's when he ran into Randall, which I don't know how. I mean, I'm curious with you how that happened, but when he met with you guys, it was just, let's just make some money. I got to kind of get away from he'd screwed up his bounty hunter career, and he'd screwed up his life, and he just needed something new, and he wanted anything that was a change of pace.
A change in the currents.
Exactly. And so once he started to trust you guys, once he trusted the Yojimbo crew, that kind of became his family to him, to some degree. You know what I mean? He was very much like, I trust these guys because we'd been in enough situations where I knew that you guys had my back, and that was the first real moment where it was like, he's doing a bunch of shit. Aaron's doing a bunch of shit behind my back, behind all of our backs. Not that you owed it to me, but I mean to everyone. And once I had inspected Rue, and I was like, what is all this tech in here? There's other stuff he's broadcasting to some, information to someone else. And with taking out Cool, it was and leaving us in the middle of a battle.
And
that had never happened.
Literally telling you I was going to murder you.
There was that too, but that was after.
Yeah,
that was afterwards. But at that point, I mean, and the other thing was nobody knew my past. But in my past, also like, well, who are you sending information to? Because I had a bounty on half of me, and so that was another. I couldn't say that, but that was another thing. Like I don't know what's going on.
And on top of that, one of the things that Keith and I have talked about is like as soon as you guys got aboard the Indomitable, Keith hacked the shit out of it, and he got records that he could.
Right.
So like part of it was like he knew that you were slave trading before everyone else knew. We've never resolved it. This is the perfect time to talk about it. But that was like an added level of item. Like he was like, so am I?
Yeah,
am
you
I?
should have died instead of her, man.
Yeah.
Aaron was terrible.
I sold slaves.
Asshole. Yeah.
No, okay.
No,
so
he got better. He was an asshole.
So
He
no,
did.
the
That was a
people
great
moving
character
thing.
arc for
Yeah,
him.
really good.
The people moving thing, we never really got a chance to play it out, but Aaron was operating the Mako Club as a front for Randall.
Sure.
And they built a people mover like at Disneyland.
So that's where
they were
Different color
That's where
cars.
little things
yeah.
like at the end of Spira, where it was like, Randall owns me, and everyone's like, leave him alone, and it was like,
Oh, and
the fuck did you tell them, Aaron?
Randall was like looking at you, being like, "Yes, I own."
I lift my curse. But People Mover, we never got into it. But Aaron was selling Randall's operatives into Imperials and Hutt slave camps. So that with the idea that they were just moving
that they were spies.
rebel troops,
Got
and
it.
so
Okay,
when the day
okay.
came that it needed, they would.
They were already
they were already on the
They would
inside.
set up.
Oh, that's cool. That's
they would set
interesting.
up like infrastructures and stuff.
I totally thought that was going to be a bigger point with you because of the whole like slavery.
Yeah.
There was
That's part of why I went off on you because I knew some of your history too, and it was so like you're overlooking. I mean, that's what my character was like. Like you're letting everything go, and I know you hate. So you have a thing for slavery. You brought it multiple
above
times.
Game, you were so good that episode. I forgot that I was Io. I said some like bullshit line just to remind myself that I was still in the room, but the entire time I wasn't thinking as her. I was like the entire time I was like, he was amazing. That's the only thing that was going through my head. So I had no response to that because I wasn't her at the time. I was just me.
Yeah.
Well, that was a fun. It was a fun episode because it really.
Yeah.
I don't remember like any. I was just riffing because I knew where he was coming from. I knew my motivations for both of you, and I knew what I was personally willing to say. I wasn't. This was not a good time because I actually was going into that episode. As with a few episodes before that, like, is it time to reveal some more information? How can I get this out? Which character would I trust to talk to? Which, strangely enough, ended up being you that I said some stuff like a few episodes later.
Yeah.
But it was not the way I planned. I mean, I remember it was like,
That
I was
was
like,
the I'm
Herg,
gonna
I would
shoot
probably
later.
pull Herg aside, and things just didn't work out. It just didn't, like, I would time it, and I'd be like, oh, this is a good time, I'm going to talk to her, and it just didn't work out. No, it was all timing stuff with what was going on. Because both of you two, I would have trusted either of you before that moment.
Before that, right.
But and I remember too, like in that episode, you know, when because Caleb had talked to Herg about how he felt like Io's decision making was clouded because he suspected that she was in love with Aaron, and then you know when Caleb was talking with Kalara afterwards about like what are we gonna do about Aaron, and she's like, I don't know, I think we still gotta go with him. He's like, well, I trust your decision making, and that was a really important moment for me, feeling like, oh, like Caleb is really part of this team and he does believe in me, and that was an important moment for her as a character.
I remember going back and like looking. I remember rewatching a number of past episodes. And her reasoning for that is, one, she, at that point anyway, Io was the only person Aaron had been 100% transparent about. He told her about his mom, back on Spira. He told her about his dad, back on Spira, as well as the fact that apparently he has a sister, as well as the fact that he had that vision where he imagined killing him. So he had been, at that point,
Told her that Papa was alive.
100% transparent.
Right.
Also, that was also layered on top of the fact that he came back, which, knowing her backstory, is huge for her.
We only have about like 10 minutes left.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I want to open the floor to Bert because he's got some stuff I know he wants to.
Oh,
there's some questions that I know that he's ready to
talk. K001 list with you?
I'm gonna, unless you have specific questions from your thing, I'm just gonna go through.
No, I know you're ready.
Reddit
No.
And like hit some random things.
Okay.
We'll answer them rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Cool.
Is Coop really dead? Yes.
Yes.
So dead.
Dead.
No, Invader Zim, you know.
What happened to that human replacement droid factory? There's only been one a human replacement droid, whatever they were called.
Yeah, HRD.
In the entire series. Can anyone guess who it was?
Ooh.
The janitor guy that worked for Randall.
Yeah, you knew. No, that's not it.
No.
It was Randall himself.
It was definitely not that. I
Life
have to
model
get my notes.
decoy.
'Cause
I was leaning towards Gain.
Nope.
But I know
It
it's not
was-
him.
Was it fake Papa?
It was Lynn Hale, the female.
Oh shit! Of
I was like,
course it
this is
was.
so obvious. It was the
We never
one
met her.
human
Oh,
person.
yeah, you didn't meet her. Only her
Okay,
HRD.
yes.
No, we never met her.
Yeah, it was
Only her
the
Nicola
one,
Renner.
the one
All right,
human
next.
person. Next person. Sorry.
Even though she had beer on the ship.
Yeah,
they
they can
took
eat.
from her.
They can eat and drink, and it's fine.
Yeah.
And why did Randall have a mechanical hand? Because he lost his other one.
Because he lost an arm.
Could they have saved CZ's MOB? Nope.
No.
What happened to Vader? He showed up.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah, he was there.
He wasn't
Everyone,
promised to
he
meet us.
showed up. I
We
said
didn't
that
see
squadron
it.
showed up.
Yeah.
They showed up.
People in chat were so salty that we didn't fight Vader at the end. They were like, Bird, you promised us Vader.
I said
No,
Death
no,
Squadron
no.
shows up.
We would have absolutely
and they
died.
showed up. I'm just going through
We're
all
gonna
of these.
Rogue One this.
Who's Randall really working for?
Himself.
No. Here's a really interesting
The
thing.
Emperor Palpatine.
No.
So when I started off the series,
We never got to. I'll tell you.
I'll tell you all about it. This is kind of what this is.
Okay.
Randall created this whole. Randall was with the Rebel Alliance. Alexander Choi was with the Empire. through a series of different events. The two of them, maybe they were insert whatever you want into this thing. Maybe they were like, I know what you're thinking, but maybe they're counter-operatives. Maybe they've got, maybe they've gotten to whatever. These two people have crossed paths.
Yeah, Mr. and Mr. Smith.
And they Mr. and Mr. Smith.
They've crossed paths night after
even though
night.
Randall said I didn't really get it. We'll go into it. I won't go into it. But the two of them came up with a plan to basically be like, hey, we are basically the two like guardians of like we both are fighting for opposite sides, and that's fine. But if ever there's a moment where we need to have, like, there need to be like cross intelligence or, you know, there's a sort of thing that like threatens everything, we're on it. And you guys killed Alexander Choi in the first 4 episodes. Second episode.
Alexander Choi.
That's right.
We totally shot him in
My
the
goal
face.
was, and even though he like killed looters and he was trying to like hold up his like his persona of his Imperial, I was like, I want to have a character who's an Imperial who's actually ultimately going to be really lovable, and a rebel character who's ultimately really really
we
shitty.
killed the nice
like
Imperial and saved the
and you
shitty
killed
rebel.
him, and I'm like, all right, this is fine. I'm just going to double down on this fucking asshole rebel character. So their
Thanks a
idea
lot,
was
Darren DePaul.
their idea was
I remember, like, even in the moment that Alexander Choi got killed, being like, why did you do that?
And so ultimately, right, there was a goal at the end of it. It didn't quite fully get there, but there's ultimately going to be a goal where going up against the Revenant was going to be a joint Rebel and Imperial offense. Be like, we need to take these guys out while you guys are on there.
It
didn't quite get there because
And then
Alexander
Troy and then Randall would get married.
Patha, you guys killed Patha's sister on Cloud City. That was not a clone. It was not a droid. You killed
Yeah, I
her
was
sister.
wondering if that was another HR.
It was not. It was her sister. So some of your memories of Patha are not actually Patha. Some of your memories were.
Did they like prestige this?
This was 100% the prestige. This is 100% the prestige. So equally so, right? Like for the most part, though, for the most part, your Patha that you knew was your Patha. Patha was also training your brother, and that was kind of like that's why when the whole thing went down with you, they're like, you know what? We're gonna have twins. We're gonna get the two murder children and train them at the same time because this is more effective. Yannick the entire time was still working with him. At this point, you know, unfortunately, it was like one of those things. We'll go into the bigger thing later on. But like, you guys were the chosen ones. But like, I laid the groundwork that like there were other people who have gone. Like HK47 could have gone and collected these at any time.
Right.
Because you've gone into all those temples and you noticed there was like the three of you, and one of them was carved off. The three of you.
Sure, the droid,
like
yeah.
Droid,
So I thought HK47 for sure.
He could go in there at any time. You guys just collected for him. But at the same point, there's a lot of contingencies. One of them being Yannick. Be like, well, you're technically
could have been Yannick
a Corvica. We can go through this. Going with the whole your guys' lineage. A lot of this stuff was like I don't have specific names, but like I wanted to allow it some ambiguity that you can go collect this stuff. Let's see. I'm gonna keep going through this list. If you guys have questions, here's the perfect time. Start spamming the chat with some questions you want, so I can start answering them. Yeah. I'm gonna keep going through the Reddit. Matt, I'm gonna rely on you to look at that chat.
Yeah.
And you give them to me when they happen.
All right, here we go.
Things
but in the meantime, I want to personally thank all of you guys for coming here every single week, for committing this, for giving us your Wednesdays to come and do something really awesome. We get
really
to
fun.
we get to create something. We got to create something really really special every 3 hours on Wednesdays, and it wouldn't be here without you
and
guys.
Fridays
it wouldn't be
before
here without
that.
you. And Fridays before that.
That's Friday.
And we told something really awesome, and I'm just really happy that I was able to meet you guys, and that you guys were able to be part of the Thumper family. And thank you guys for making this possible. This is the longest running show on Hyper, and I'm like really fucking proud of it. So like I love working on this and even guesting on it. So just thank you guys for everything you've done, because it's been awesome.
Yep.
And we're really proud of it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
You got a question,
More
Mark?
questions.
No.
I got a question.
Notes.
Mooney Mika, what did the Imperial Dr. John Z Jesus, it's moving. My God. Do to Coop and Aaron?
Oh, that's a great question. Hey, spoiler alert. He just straight up killed Coop. He didn't do anything. All of that was completely avoidable. He literally was just like, because you gave him super blood, that Unanswered was just like, I can't let the rebels I can't let these people have it. So he did absolutely nothing really. I mean, he used some of what he got from him to save Aaron, but like he literally was like, I need to drain and kill Coop. so that no one else gets the super blood. So completely unavoidable, and they literally sold them over for no reason. So,
oh my god!
Yep.
What the fuck?
I killed you.
Guys, we can't
I
end
created the character.
Draxius asked.
Chat was the one that voted to kill me.
That's true. It was all chat. It was all chat.
Draxius asked, "Is there a chance we might go back to Galaxy Far Far Away at some point?" And I think there's always a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, like
one-offs.
Yeah.
Sometimes, look, as we say in this channel, with success, all things are possible. So continue to tell your friends.
Yes.
To watch,
Please watch other
support
shows.
This channel, because I cannot stress it enough. Without this channel, none of us would be here.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, these stories live on.
T-Voice asked, how did you first hear about PNP and how did this cast come together?
I worked on it.
I
yeah.
was cast.
Lucas sent me a Facebook message and was like, "Want to do a Star Wars RPG?"
Yep.
Yeah, Darren was like, "Can I drop your name off with a guy named Lucas?" And I went, "Sure."
Erica Ishii tweeted about it.
Oh yeah, your story's actually really interesting.
And I was like, I had just, I think the week before Discover the Edge of the Empire book, I like sat at a Barnes & Noble like I was in like high school again and just like sat for a couple hours, just like flipped through the book. And I was like, oh, I want to do something like this. And then Ishii tweeted about it.
And then you stalked us.
I
and then
fucking
you kept bugging me.
stalked me.
Like, Hector, when can I come and be a guest on the show? Hector, when can I come and be a guest on the show? I was like, Joe, shut up, man.
Which also, let me say
we'll
this.
get you on the show.
I am really I was not anymore. But
all right.
Okay.
I was so intimidated by both of you.
By both of us?
Yes. You're such just really, really huge, wonderful talents, and so like that was really nerve-wracking for me to be like, hey, I think I'd be a good fit for this. Maybe.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I did email Erica and I was like, who do I talk to for this? And she was like, I think like Zach. And I was like, will you do that intro? And I've never played the Emmy card before, but I'll play it for this.
I'm an Emmy award-winning writer.
Like, I will play it for this. Like I really want to fucking do this show.
On a very quick continuation of this, after Joe came on and guest, I literally, when you showed up, having literally met you the very first time showing up here, I thought you were immediately part of the crew. It's just like, hey man, like, hey dude, and like I've watched these episodes. This was like, oh, cool, great.
Yeah, Joe
and,
like knew what was going on.
We like did the episode, and I was like,
just
oh
excited
man,
you guys didn't have to dance.
This was but like we did it, and then you like left. And like, I think the thing that I want to stress is like your love for the show didn't end with that moment.
It didn't.
You and I were
really
constantly talking afterwards, being like, "Hey, how can I want to come back eventually?" It's like, well, here's the thing: when you come back eventually, like, let's set it up. Let me like have them see you randomly as you're walking by in our show.
Yeah, we talked about it.
One last thank you, and may the force be with you. Enjoy some drinks on me. Hashtag liked.
Thank you so much, Time Aurora.
Yay, Time Aurora.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So Dario asked, and I think we haven't touched on this, but for Bert, they asked how fun was it to create the incentives or the unlocks every week, and I think fun's like a loose word because I know like that's exhausting, y'all. Like I had to come up with the incentives with
but it's
Lucas
God work.
and Zach and stuff for like all the shows. It's like, oh my god, how do we make this work?
I only did it once and it was stressful as hell.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And you, Emma, you did it. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed making them actually, but I only had to do it twice. I only did it twice though.
Yeah.
It started off before when, if you guys remember, way back in the beginning of the game, we did Galactic Conquest stuff.
Yeah.
So it was not like, oh, things are unlocked, and like that was like cool.
Right.
But then I got to the point where I'm like, oh, how many battles are we gonna do?
Right.
And then when it got to like items and stuff, it was great, but like it got to the point where I spent more time during a week prepping for unlocks than I did story.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm sitting there being like, what do I do for 3? Because like, no offense, if you asked me the question, what was the one unlock that you regret the most? Sorry, it's not 0 kids. It's giving that fucking blaster that goddamn stat because that was the most broken fucking shit.
That was on the board game night too.
Yeah.
That was on that.
I like my blaster.
Then there was that. Then there was that. Oh, so many times. Anyways,
It doesn't matter. All you did was make every single like presence check I ever did 20 times harder.
That's tough. Yeah, I did.
So unfortunately, we are
Right.
at
we're
our
at the
final
end of our time.
Yes, I know. But I do want to go back to talk about Uniform Deer's question.
Yes.
What's next for you guys? Not like in terms of are there RPGs? Like, did this open doors to other RPGs? Or what's just next in your career? What's on? What are you guys up to?
I think for me, I'm still doing a bunch of internet stuff, still schmo-downing, showing up on Jedi Council more often at Collider, which has been really fun. It's really funny. People were like, "You've never run that show before?" I was like, "No." Like, even Christian, the first time I came on, was like, "I can't believe you've never been on this before." And I was like, "Yeah, me too, dude. I kind of wanted to do this for a while so I could tell people to watch my Star Wars RPG."
It's over now.
But it's over now. Yeah, I mean, some things I can't talk about, and then
Tell us about those.
Well, let me tell you about NDA, the thing, but I think that for me though, the thing that's been really eye-opening for me about doing this show is making me go, what do I want to do? Because I've really been enjoying sort of the like broadcaster path that I've been on, but a lot of this show is acting and it's also writing, and so there is this part of me that's going, do I still want to be an actor or do I want to be a writer? So, but like in a good way, in a good way that's like opening it up for me to be like, I feel like maybe there's a divergence in my career path coming up, and that's exciting. I don't know. We'll see.
Kate, you gonna be in any Star Wars cartoons coming up?
All kinds of secrets. I don't know.
Show, right?
I have no idea. I don't even know. Nor can I talk.
Show?
I do. Sometimes they don't tell you what you're auditioning for, and then I don't talk about it until they say, "Hey, you can talk about it." This was really cool for me. This was a very new experience for me. I don't know. I'm not even sure what I thought I was going to be going into it. I remember being a little nervous about it. Like, I don't know. I mean, it actually. I was worried about the Star Wars knowledge, and it's kind of good that there's not a lot of canon out there, and that actually worked to my advantage.
I
It
made
was
shit
nice.
up that now people are teaching their kids.
They think it's totally Tagorian.
It's the sweetest, coolest thing, and I'm like, there's no details about this thing in Star Wars. It's great.
But it was nice. It was nice to kind of have that. Like I was, so I got to come up with my own expressions and the way we would talk and the things we would say and
water
the creatures. It was funny too because I had like right off the bat I had things like Gampasa Pudu and Gampasa are these large turtles that we actually build. They're so large that Nodlins actually will build whole villages on their backs. Right, but that was the only animal that existed in all of the canon.
Amazing.
That was it. That was all there was.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun, and it's the weeks that I didn't get to do it, or that I had like 4 weeks off, I really missed the show, and I really missed you guys. And I missed being a part of it. And it was hard to come back, not in a bad way. It was good to come back, but I hated that I missed 4 episodes.
Sure.
I came back with that Coop episode, and I was like, "What the is going on a luxury planet?" And I just was like, "I don't know any of these people. I don't know what. I'm trying my best. What is this thing that makes me feel good? Like what there was some porg in it or something. There was all kinds of stuff going on, and so that But I don't have any other plans to do another. I mean, it was always a kind of a bit of a time crunch, more with family than it. So it's not like a career busy thing. It was just family stuff to do this at night and stuff. But it was so rewarding. It was so much fun. I hope whether it's for fun or whatever, I get to do something like this again because this was more addictive, I think, than I realized it was going to be.
Yeah, way more than I realized it would be too.
Yeah, so it was a blast. It was a lot, and thank all of you. Thank everybody for watching and making. Because if there was no audiences, I don't think they would have even gotten to me joining the show. It would have been like, nobody's watching this, so
it's done.
That's done. But I mean, that was a lot of the enjoyment is that that actually people were paying attention and had things to say about it in the chat rooms and stuff, and people said things like this.
It wouldn't be a true hyper rebounds per game show without this. Poop, 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 poop.
Is that poop?
Uberbaldi!
I think it's poop.
Poop.
Is this heard on a bed?
Poop.
God!
Poop.
Is this
Damn it, Uberbaldi!
Is this the
You
Wamba
guys
song?
never had to deal with this. Because
John, thank you.
So this is
I would probably.
this is a perception check deals with this a lot. It's the poop joke.
Poop.
Everyone loves poop.
May the force be with you.
Fuck you, Uberbaldi! It's not your show!
Hector, can you follow up that?
Poop? Can you follow the poop ride?
no plans right now for what's next as it relates to RPGs or Star Wars stuff or whatever. But stay tuned. Like we were saying, keep watching Hyper RPG because I feel like we're moving more into. Hyper RPG is moving more into like tackling shows like this and in the sort of season format.
Yes,
which means that there's like a constantly rotating schedule of stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see us in different things. I wouldn't be surprised if later there's a chance for Pencils and Parsecs or an iteration of it to come back in either a one-off form or like again another little season or whatever. So stay tuned and keep supporting all of these lovely people.
And adding on to that too, we are growing as a company, which is pretty cool. But part of that is a lot of our new shows, we're actually doing like official shows with like bigger brands and stuff, which we never really have gotten to do ever since like Valiant and Hyperforce and stuff opened up on new doors. So like expect to be called, and I hope you guys. I understand if you're busy, but I hope you guys answer the call because we love working with you guys and we want you guys to get really cool work. But I want you guys to know that it just takes some time because we're growing, and that's pretty dope. So, yeah, man.
Cool. I'll call Disney to see if they will
sponsor a Star Wars show. Perfect. Yeah, I love it.
What
is it? There's lots
I'll
of
bite
spice.
the bullet and write a cartoon
If I must.
It's drugs and sex. It's totally Star Wars.
It's all on HBO.
Yeah. What about you guys?
Well, I'm excited to leave this Q&A, leaving all of Aaron Val's secrets in Secret Land.
Fan fiction.
It's not. If he writes it though, is it fan fiction? If Joe writes it, I don't think it's fan fiction.
Yeah.
I think it's canon.
You guys will never know shit about that long planet.
I don't know, I'm doing the same shit I usually do. I still have a 4-minute comedy EP you could buy for $4 about $1.
$1 to stand up.
That gets into comedy.
Screams at me whenever I turn on my car.
Yeah, it's the autoplay on Kim's iPhone.
Yeah. So this is the time I turn on because alphabetically it like lands first, so I just get Gary screaming at me whenever.
His name is Gary.
Whenever I turn on my engine.
And so I would very much appreciate if you spent $4 on that and supported me making dumber shit like that. I'll always be down to show up here when you guys call me. This show has meant a lot. Being a part of this cast and coming to this house has meant a lot. It's just such a welcoming place. When shit went down for us last year and we had to take out some trash that blew up our lives, the first fucking person that made it very, very clear that we weren't all outcast was Zach.
Yeah.
So I will always really, really, really appreciate that. Yeah. So you guys like the bat signal, and I'll, that Michael Keaton gif, or yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't follow that. No, it's just professional auditioner. Life on the 405. That's.
You know what? I'll tell you what I feel comfy knowing that we'll all be able to kind of continue on doing is keeping the crew together in a lot of different ways. Like I had like a little surprise shindig thrown for me over Memorial Day weekend, and they opened the door.
Memorial Day?
Labor Day. Which day was it? Which 3 day was it?
There was
a lot of
we
freaking
opened it.
involved.
Yeah.
It was this was the group when the door got opened, and that meant so much to me. So that's what I'll say. I'm happy that we'll continue doing.
No, it's just same old, just going out for stuff and hoping somebody calls back. And other than that, Pencils and Parsecs season 4. That's my plans for
Is that happening? Are you announcing this right now?
You can get $12,000 right now. We'll think about it.
Often, like, people ask us, "Oh, what do we bring in TV fights with Roxy Strider back and shit like that?" And it's like when all of a sudden on YouTube they break like a shitload of views.
Yeah.
That's like the shitty truth of it.
Yeah, it really is.
Share this stuff with your.
You gotta share.
And that's the thing is
into
and all of our VODs are unlocked. They're all there on Twitch, and most of the show at this point, if not all of it, is on YouTube. And it's like, just keep sharing that content. I mean, we have people continuing to discover this show to this day.
There was one guy that binged it in like a month.
Yeah.
The whole series.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like,
That's
damn,
insane.
that's like 300 hours or something.
That's a lot of us mumbling through some shit.
I guess his name is Nick McNickerson.
Like, keep sharing, like, keep hashtagging, keep making fan art, fan fiction, by Condius.
I'm writing a story right now that's almost done that I'm gonna post pretty soon, and then you'll all be able to read it. And it explores a little bit of a relationship that I didn't really get to get into in the show. So
Nice. What about you, man?
I wrote a book, so stay tuned for more information on that. I will have cool things maybe to show everyone soon. You can visit a really cool, fun science fiction world that I co-wrote with a buddy of mine. Nice. It has it has my most favorite character that I've ever written lines for. So she's pretty awesome. With that also, man, it's hard to go from one of these things to something else. But I'm totally lying because I have to keep going. I can't stop. Yeah. So I don't know what's next for Hyper and all this. I live here, so you'll probably see me. I'll take some personal time and do some RPGs of my own. So
not streaming something and for fun? What?
Very excited.
I don't know.
It seemed like they're doing something sexual later.
I really just seemed like there was something
right?
sexual
Like,
later.
I'm gonna do some RPG of my own.
Does anyone Spice?
Hey, who wants drugs?
Would you like to buy some drugs?
I would like to sell some drugs.
So, I guess from
I was not very successful with that.
all of us.
No.
To all of you.
To all of you.
No.
May
May the force be with you.